What about... Hello, sound check, hello. Hello, sound check, hello. Hello, sound check, hello. Hello, sound check, hello. This is a test. This is a test. This is a test. Test. This is a test. This is a test. 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 Alright. Anyone here on the live stream? Pa-sound check naman. Hello bro, loud and clear. Naku, maraming salamat. Miss Joy Navales, welcome sa ating stream. Miss Rekelman, thank you. Nandito ka. Moonshine bro. Glad that you're here. Good evening, Jillian. Oh, Abulensya. Miss Abulensya, you're here. Mr. Ang. Miss Acosta, naku, hindi ka pa matulog ng maaga. Ngayon ganun na nangyari sa klase nyo. Ay, laban ka pa rin. Sige, maraming salamat. Apologies for the late live stream. OBS is not playing nice tonight. So kung bigla ako na DC, lipat tayo ng kabilang stream. Hanapin nyo na lang. If for whatever reason, OBS kicks me off tonight. Salamat din, Dave Ang. Maraming salamat. May mga cases na binabasa si Moonshine. Naku, siya tatawagin natin. Salamat. Let's begin. Please open the description box. Tapos yung first link. First link. You'll find the first link. Hello daw sa batch 4. Congratulations sa ating Mac class batch 4 na itawid nila ang kanilang mga recitations. Feedback forms, pakifilapan, tapos I'll give you your grades later next week na siguro. Yeah. Next week na siguro. OBS is not playing nice tonight. If I'm ever disconnected, i-restart ko lang to. Then let's do another stream. Mr. Putungan, glad that you're here. Suggestion po ng website for case digests. No, I do not suggest that you read case digests. Sorry, Mr. Bernardino. Kasi you lose a lot. You lose a lot in terms of materials pagdating sa case digests versus reading them in the original. Maraming nawawala. And I hope you understand why. I recommend that you get your cases sa Batas app. That's the first recommendation. Nagdi-DC. Oo nga. Balitaan nyo ako kung nadi-DC ako ha. Or naglalag ako. Balitaan nyo ako. Thank you for monitoring, bro. Batas app, that's free. You can download it from their website or from Facebook. It's offline. Tapos it has a very nice search function pagdating sa Mac. For Windows users, okay din naman daw. Tapos, you have Lawfil, Chan Robles, both free. Free ang mga yan. Yes, Lawfil, Mr. Putungan. Yan nga. Read the full text. Thank you for reiterating that. First day ng class ko to, kinakabahan ako. Naku, ipagdarasal kita, Mr. Bernardino. PM mo ko. Downloaded. Tapos, download nyo lang. Tapos, once downloaded, let me know by typing downloaded. Tapos, let's start. Oh, Miss Oligario, you are here. Your twinkling eyes will not get you through this class. No, it's not a class. It's a live stream. It's a safe space for you to make mistakes. Downloaded. Kakayanin mo ba? Naku? Pumasok ako ng law school, matanda na ako. Mahina memory ako. Naitawid ko ba? Oo naman. Batas app, yes. I hope you look for that. I hope you find that. Downloaded. Yep. Ayaw gumana ng batas app sa Mac M1. Oo kapatid, hindi talaga siya aandar. Ang kailangan mo lang doon yung database. Naku, PM mo ako. Kung pwede lang mag-share ng screen ngayon, ipapakita ko kung paano siya kasarap gamitin kapag sa Mac. PM mo ko, Ellen. Tulungan kita sa iyong MacBook M1 problems. Nako, rich people problems pala ito eh. Ngayon pa panghihinaan ng loob si Moonshine. Ay katigas na ng dibdib ng taong ito. Tips kapag what or how to highlight cases, I think I've covered that in a previous stream. Ito yung deep dive. Hydration break. 15 seconds. Play Store. Wala sa Play Store ang Batas app. Desktop-based siya. If you're on Windows or Mac, wala pang desktop talaga ang Batas app. Love na love ko tong app na to. Nabi, welcome. Welcome sa ating channel. Sa Batas app users ng Mac, ay Mac users na gagamit ng Batas app, pwedeng makatulong sa inyo ako or yung tinuruan ko last Saturday, ang aking bidel, si Ed Charles Pasha. Maraming salamat. Miss Mohika, thank you. Yes, type nyo lang downloaded pag nandyan na. Pahinging 15 seconds. Itong OBS ang kulit ngayon eh. Na high blood ako, wala pa kayong maling sagot. Hindi, joke lang. Tonight is a stream. It's not a mock class. It's a safe space to make mistakes. Hello, Miss Alsua. I hope you had fun on the beach over the weekend. Kwentuhan mo ako ng kwentong dagat. Sobrang namimiss ko na rin ang buhangin. Shout out to Block 201 ng USC. Hello, Block 201. Ano bang iniinom nyo ngayon? Sige. Type lang ng downloaded pag may materials na kayo so we can begin. Hello, Miss Diaz. Glad that you're here. As I mentioned in the previous stream, when you read cases, ang mga inuuwi lang natin na sa general rule, who filed the case, tapos what was the case filed, against whom was the case filed, and why was the case filed. Angel, sana ay majowa ka na ng crush mo. Mahirap jumawa ng law student. Nako. Ang bidel ay ang tulay ng klase at ang professor. Iisa ang bidel kada klase. Ang trabaho niya ay saluhin ang lahat ng galit ng professor kapag walang aral sa klase. Trabaho niya magpadala ng assignment kapag nirelay ng prof, announcements, humingi ng ceasefire from time to time. Tapos, he gets a bidel bonus. May bonus siya sa grade. Pero kung incompetent ang bidel, bad trip din ng prof. JD1B ng Southern Bicol College, Masbate City. Yes, play hard to get. Yan. Nuanced ang bawat case. For criminal law cases, what you need to remember always is who died, the extent of the injuries, paano siya namatay, sinaksak ba siya, binaril siya, sinakal siya, ano ang murder weapon, saan ang injuries niya, yan ang nuance niyan. Tapos, legal ethics, ang nuance niyan ay kung saan galing ang complaint. Diyan nagbabago. Well, it depends. Marami kasing mga terror na professor ang nafe-favorite natin dahil matalino sila. Sa mga naging kaklase ko sa law school, may mga nape-favorite ang mga terror dahil sila ang medyo may etsura. And as Olivia would quickly point out, for those of you who've read Kada, Olivia always says, circumstantial hotness. Hot lang siya dahil sa context niya. Hindi dahil hot siya as a person. Na kung ilipat mo yan, alisin mo sa context niya, mukha lang siyang normal na tao. Shoutout daw, sabi ni Miss Oligario, kay Colin Larupay and Edabel Falcasantos. I hope I'm saying your names right. From WSMSU. Sige, first time din pala nila sa stream. Kung first time nyo sa stream, type first. Nang nakilala ko naman ang inyong mga pangalan. Hello, Mr. Bagayas. Okay, ang nuance ng, wait lang ha, 15 seconds. First, naku, welcome. Andrew Lumagbas, Oscar Justin Manuel, welcome. Christian Jake Maramag, first time, thank you. Morel DM, Nabi, first time. Angel Tolalay, Maureen Braza. Kung first time nyo dito, i-download nyo na yung ating handouts. / the case that we're going to read. Mahaba-haba ito. Wag sana tayong umabot na madaling araw. Hello, Legaspi. Kapatid, salamat nandito ka. Chris Graham, and I love you back, kapatid. Miss Puwa, first time. Welcome sa inyong lahat. Salamat at nagkaabot tayo, Miss Domingo. Consti mo bukas. Nako, huwag ka na magpuyat, itulog mo na yan. Ganyan ba talaga ang Consti cases? Parang isang buong libro? Yes and yes. Nuanced ang constitutional law cases kasi very rarely do you ever find constitutional law cases na may kwento. Most of them, the facts are very, very simple. Wala siyang story. It's not like the case of Owanes and Galanta, which we now remember through the subtitle, Ang Saging ni Brigida. City University of Pasay. Hello, Miss Rekelman. Sino may birthday ngayon? Consti ka pa pala, Moonshine bro. Oo naman, welcome ka, 38. Pwede pa. Batas 2019 app po, hindi. I think they've released the 2021 version. 1.4 gig siya kung ida-download. Lalabanan natin yan, Miss Alsua. Gagamutin natin ang antok sa Consti cases. I'm going to show you how. StatCon should be covered somewhere else, at some future time. Oposa versus Factoran. Iconic case din yan. But I've chosen something more relevant, more up-to-date, more recent for all of you to enjoy. I mean kasi pag binasa nyo to, you will know you can attach faces to the people involved. So, if you have the handouts, type na ng downloaded. So we can begin. Whitewash ka pala, kapatid. Hindi mo na kwento yan. Kala ko yung mga second year pa third year ka na. Hindi ko yan masasagot, Miss Nuestro. Dahil hindi ako kumuha ng kriminalidad. Ng criminology pala. Sige. Anytime na naglalag ako, sabihan nyo ako. OBS is bleep tonight. Okay. First tip when you read Consti cases is, pareho ba tayo na na-download? What's the first word? Show my screen, ha? Yan. What's the first word on your handouts? See, memorize ko na paano maglipat. Yay me. Balitaan nyo ako pag naglalag ako, ha? Si Mr. De La Rosa, my birthday. Naku, happy birthday, Mr. De La Rosa. Meron yan, kapatid. Magtiwala ka. Marami na nagtanong sa akin kung meron ako nito. Lawyers League versus Aquino. Meron yan. It exists somewhere in the wild. Hindi naabutan ng, hello, Miss Carlos. Glad that you're here. First instruction natin, download yung first file. Yan ang handouts natin. Yan ang aaralin natin tonight. Uy, wala naman sa ilang taon ka kung mawa-whitewash ka o hindi. PM mo ako. Ilaban natin yan. Sige. Pares ba tayo na nakikita, mga kapatid? Kasi OBS is not playing nice. Not sure if you can see my screen. Yes, you can see? You can see? Same case ba tayo? Mary Grace Natividad. Paula Manzares. Yes. Kasi sabi dito sa aking monitor parang hindi pa siya kita. Puro lag lang. Yes, thank you. First time mo here. Grabe ah. Ano ba alternative ng OBS? Kung gusto kong ihagis tong OBS, anong ipampapalit ko? Sa inyong mga content creator dyan. Miss Domingo. Same ba tayo na nakikita? Yes. Grabe. Ano, restart ko ba to? OBS na pinakamaganda. It's not playing nice tonight. Actually, dalawang stream na niya akong binibigo. Okay, what can you see on my screen? On your screen pala. My monitor is off. Can you see parang Microsoft Word? Microsoft Word? Yes. Hindi ko na marirestart ang OBS ngayon. Kasi nasa stream tayo. Pag nag-restart ako, lipat tayo ng stream. Title of the case, thank you. Oh, that's enough for me. I think we can proceed. Tigilan na natin tong kalokohan ng OBS. Sige. First thing you do when you read the case, kapag constitutional law cases, ang framework natin is we don't look for the murder weapon, we don't look for injuries. What we usually do is find out the root. Find out the sources. Here's what I mean. When you look at constitutional law cases, they usually come as a consolidation of two or more petitioners or two or more positions against one other person or persons. Gets? See here, we have two petitions, 221697 and 221698-700. Dadalawa yan. In some other constitutional law cases, parang maraming positions from different sectors or different parties that the Supreme Court is trying to put together and hear as one. Malinaw pa? Since in... Okay po, hindi na blurred screen. Nako. Bubuisit na ako sa OBS, ha? Okay. Dahil unique ang constitutional law cases pagdating sa... Nabi, maraming salamat. Sorry, ngayon ko lang nakita. Salamat, Nabi Santiago. Oh, Going back. Ang focus natin should be the parties and the arguments that they are raising. Arguments. You look for the arguments of the petitioner, tapos how the respondent counters each argument, and then how the Supreme Court resolves the argument. Okay pa ba? I hope I'm making sense. Yes, mahaba-haba kasi kailangan natin ng honest na assessment. Kung naglagay tayo ng Villavicencio versus Lucban dito, parang hindi natin sila mabibigyan ng maayos na cross-section of what it feels like to read constitutional law cases. Sige, that's one. Pangalawa, I don't mention this in other subjects, pero the nuance of constitutional law cases is one other nuance. You look for the date when the case was decided. This is very important. Why? Why is this important? Why? Why is this important? Why do we have to note the date of when the case was decided? Bakit? Bakit sa constitutional law importante ito? Sagot. Miss Oligario. Why is the date important for constitutional law cases? Give me a guess as you have been guessing last Sunday. It affects other common laws. Some other answer. Eclectic. Relevance to current issues. Merong past issue na sinasagot ng decision. Vague, Mr. Bagayas. Ano, Oligario? Sagot! Appropriate for the changing demands of time. Naks. Ang ganda naman pakinggan yan. It becomes an exception. Nako. For the effectivity of the law enacted. No. Tuloy nabanggit na kanina. Balikan ko lang. Jurisprudence. Huhula na talaga tong Miss Oligario na to. To make sure that the case is still covered by the 1987 Constitution. Good answer, Dave. Yes. It's important because we have to frame it under which constitution it falls. Importante yan. Kasi kapag may citation at hinanap mo sa 87, baka hindi sila magbangga. We note of the date because of the previous constitutions. Sige. Moonshine, ikaw na nagbabasa kunwari at hindi nakikinig. What are the 3 constitutions? Or is there a 4th? Naks. Sige. Ano? Kukuha ka ng Consti bukas. Tatanong yan sa'yo. Ano na yung mga naging constitution natin? Sagot. Acosta, you are correct. You have 35? Yes. Makasagot sa 4th Consti, may star sa kamay. Naku, paano kita dodrawingan? 32? 32. Kaninong history textbook yan? Sige. 35, 73, o is it 74? Miss Acosta. Ano? 87. Is it 73? Are you sure? Is it not 74, 75, 76? Biyak na bato, malolos. They don't count in law school kasi kapatid eh. Sinisimula ng bilang sa law school ng 35. Oh, what's the 4th? Freedom. Freedom Constitution. Does it have a year, Kanoso? Kanoso, does it have a year? May Freedom Constitution pala. Meron ba tayong Liberty Constitution? Meron ba tayong Human Rights Constitution? 86, correct. Sige. Importante ang dates para alam natin saan sila nagfo-fall. Provisional Consti. Nako. Yes. Mga kaklase ko nun hindi sinagot yung Freedom Consti eh. Tapos out of 5, parang nabigyan lang silang 2. Ako I answered 35, 73. Freedom, and 87. I got 5 points. Sige. Hope you remember that. So, our case, anong year siya na-decide? Okay lang, Miss Dasalya. Pasok lang. Kahit late ka, hindi kita palalabasin. See, I want you to learn tonight. Thank you. 2016. Does it fall under the 35, 73, or 87 Constitution? Saan? Saan siya nagfo-fall? Covered siya ng 87. Very good, Dave. Bakit dito nakakasagot ka? Pumupuntos ka dito. Siguro pag nagsasalita ka, malaking kaba na. Okay, sige. 87, 87. You are all correct. Now, what's the first step in reading a case? What's the first step? I love constitutional law. Hindi ako naniniwalang mahirap siya. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, previous live streams, and even the book Kada, 10 life lessons from 10 years in law school. Hindi ako naniniwalang mahirap ang Consti. Sasabihin ko mahirap ang tax. Sasabihin ko mahirap ang rem. Pero hindi ko sasabihin mahirap ang Consti. Matrabaho lang. Anyone here who has completed Consti and agrees na matrabaho talaga ang constitutional law? Anyone here who thinks matrabaho ang Consti pero hindi siya mahirap? Depende sa nagtuturo? Pwede. Unfortunately, I've had to take constitutional law twice. Consti 2 twice. Yes, matrabaho. Yan. Long cases, hindi siya mahirap. Matrabaho lang. Hindi siya technical. And I will show you later. Assume natin na itong case na ito, matrabaho but fulfilling, yes. Kasi sa Consti nakakapag-flex ng talino at talent ang ating mga justices. No, I have had to take Consti 2 twice kasi nagbago ang curriculum when I came back to law school. First grade ko I think was 87. Second grade ko was 91 or 92 sa Consti 2. I love constitutional law kung yun lang. Hindi ako naniniwalang matrabaho siya. Ay, mahirap siya, matrabaho lang. And very maprinsipyo, correct. You are correct. Here's what I want you to take home when you read constitutional law cases. Thoughts are things. We are what we repeatedly think, say, and do. And if you keep repeating to yourself, mahirap ang Consti, ay mahihirapan ka talaga. If you keep telling yourself, bobo ako sa Consti, mahirap ang Consti, that's probably true. But if you start treating constitutional law as something that's supposed to be inspiring, something na matrabaho, pero fulfilling as Mr. Canoso would like to point out, then constitutional law will probably get easier for you. You'll probably be more fulfilled. And I hope you feel that by the end of this live stream. Thank you. Sige. First step, balikan natin. First step on how to read cases in its broad sense, ha? How to read cases in its broad sense. How? Anong first step natin? First step. Read the dispositive portion. Naku, hindi pa. Back pa natin. Alamin muna natin kung saan naka-assign ang case na to. Was it assigned to us under election law? Was it assigned to us under residency requirement? Is it under the requirements of residency? Saan? Let's assume for our stream tonight that this case was assigned to you, or I am assigning it now to you, for the purpose of citizenship. Very good, Mr. Ruz. Yan. Citizenship lang ang topic natin. Hello, Miss Rivera. Good evening. Maraming salamat at nandito ka kahit ginabi ka na. Please download ang ating handouts for tonight. Let's read through together. Sige. This case is now assigned to you as part of your syllabus under citizenship. With that in mind, should we now read it in the context of citizenship or isha-shotgun natin siya? Aaralin ba natin siya ng buo? Do we read with a laser, with a sniper, or do we read with a shotgun, a machete? Sige. Reading it under the syllabus will allow you to contextualize the case. Alam natin nasaan. Focus na lang sa citizenship. Correct. Very correct. Sige. Next step. Ngayong alam natin yung topic, alam natin yung context ng ating pagbabasa. Alam natin na citizenship ang topic. What's the next step? What's the next step? Sa mga suki na ng live stream. What's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? Sige, sagot. Punta sa dulo. Sabi ni Mr. Ruz, dispositive portion. Read the decision? No. Kung babasahin mo na to, Dave, hindi mo mako-contextualize yung appreciation ng mga arguments. Remember, arguments based ang mga cases. You have the version of the prosecution, version of the defense, version of the plaintiff, version of the defendant, and then how the RTC resolved it, how the CA resolved it. In this case, diretso tayo ng SC. So we have to look at abulensya. Napaka-vague ng decision. Pag sinabi mong basahin ng decision, ay ma'am, ibig sabihin, ito ang decision. Di babasahin na natin yung decision. Rat-rat, dire-diretso lang. Hindi. It's too vague. What do we read? Read the ruling. Read the decision. Isa ka pa, moonshine. Pag sinabing decision, di bagbabasa na ako mula dito. Ganyan ba? Read the issue and facts. Too vague. Too vague, Enriquez. Facts, issue, ruling. Ano ba to? Digest na ba tong binabasa natin? Hindi. We have to read the ruling, the dispositive portion. How did the Supreme Court end the case? How did the Supreme Court dispose the case? Papangalanan ko yung mga tamang sagot. Si MZR. Sige, Tejero. Si Rivera, hindi pa sumagot. Dispositive portion, pwede. Miss Carlos, we are reading yung first link sa description. If you can look at the description box, there's a link there. Tapos, first link number 1, yan yung handouts natin tonight. Google Drive file siya. PDF ang ending. What do we read first? Dispositive portion, the ruling. What was held? And, sige, in this case, how did the case of 838 pages end? No ending nito. Ano ending nito? Anong ending nito? Bukas yata matatapos tong stream na to. Walang sumasagot. Search nga natin ang wherefore. Hindi pa to. Next na wherefore. Next na wherefore. Naku, previews. Lumampas tayo. Lumampas tayo. Where is it? On residence. Sige, kumuha na siya ng tin. Ayan, origin of the... That's an important part later. Nope. First, ito na yung dalawa. Consolidation ng dalawa. Yan. Arguments. How they were answered. Yan. Just scrolling through. So, very important. We'll go back to that later. Nilatag ng Supreme Court, nowhere in the powers. Yan. Spoilers much. Hanap muna tayo ng ending of the case. Anyone who has found it, anong page siya? See, all of this scrolling is straining my eyes. Anyone who found it? Declared qualified. Yun na ang aking i-command F. Qualified. Nako, very vague din tong qualified. Pagpapatulan ko to. Masyadong marami. Anyone with the page number? Pagod na ako mag-scroll. Page number. Anyone with the page number? Isa Costa, 40? 40. Let's try page 40. Oh, lampas. Citations na to ng main decision. Yan. Let's color this. Are hereby annulled and set aside. Is declared qualified to be a candidate. Yan. Yan, Miss Acosta. Page 39 siya sa akin. Sige. Now that we know, everyone who has found the ending. Itong mga tinuro naman yung mga kasama dito. Si Alsua. Yan. Correct. Costa. Correct. Page 40. 39 and 40. Correct. Everyone else who has found that? Everyone else who has found that? Page 39 siya sa Word. Probably 40 sa inyo na nasa PDF. Yes. Type yes kung nakita nyo na yung ending. Yes. Okay. A word on length. Kaya sinasabi ko, paulit-ulit kanina na matrabaho ang constitutional law is that every once in a while, your professors will assign cases that was the pressing issue of their day. What do I mean? Pwedeng nangyari sa kapanahunan nila si Haveliana versus Executive Secretary. Anyone who has heard of that case? Haveliana versus Executive Secretary. Type yes kung nabalitaan nyo na ang kasong iyon. Haveliana versus Executive Secretary. Sino na may yes? Oh, Domingo. Sino na nakabalita sa Haveliana? Mahabang kaso. Martinez. Sige. Bagayas, what do you remember from Haveliana versus Executive Secretary? Tawagin kita Bagayas, ha? What do you remember about it? What was it about? Di na yung ending. What was it about? 73. Correct. 73. Let's hear from Mr. Bagayas. What do you remember from that case? Heard but haven't read. Good answer. Martial law. Okay. It was the pressing issue during their time. Pwedeng some iconic decisions that happened, the parang turning points. Nasa law school sila nung nangyari yon. Their professors had them read that and in return, pababasa rin sa inyo. That's why we have really long cases. And some of them are assigned to us. Well, most of them are assigned to us. That's the reason why. Iconic sila sa kanilang mga panahon. At kahit paano nila balibalik ta rin yung facts, alam nila. Pwedeng alam nila na nambobola lang kayo. So for your generation, makiki-hour sana ako For your generation, ano ang pinaka-importanting kaso sa tingin nyo na 10-15 years down the road ay ipapasa nyo sa inyong mga magiging estudyante sa Consti? Mga mabibigat na kaso na tipong kailangan siyang i-marathon on a Saturday night. Ano sa tingin nyo ang mga importanteng kaso na na-decide during your time in law school? Or prior to your anti-terror law? Pwede. Kapag nangyari yan. Sige. Anything else? Good answer, Miss Acosta. Yung mga turning points. Oh, nangopya na tong mga to Abulensya, cheating. De, joke lang. Come on. Give me one iconic case. David versus Arroyo, that is now currently being assigned. Yan, pasok na tong mga to, Sereno. Oo, yan. Kay CJ, oo. Sereno versus Republic, it's something na pwedeng ipa-assign ninyo kapag mga professors na kayo. At buwisit din sa inyo ang inyong mga Imbong versus Ochoa, that's too old. Pero it's assigned everywhere. Yes. Classic cases. Ang ICC, hypothetically. Pwede. Ang patuan is now currently covered sa REM. Very important case sa REM. Yes, Miss Rekelman. Oo. Importante yan. Yan. Chiming Choy, nako, hindi mo to panahon, Miss Oligario. Question now are, what are the important cases now? Things that are happening right now that could be the subject of some important SC decision na pwedeng i-assign ninyo 15 years down the road. Sige. Balik ka current issues na pwedeng maging Supreme Court decision na ipantotrol nyo sa inyong mga estudyante. Pimentel versus Lep. Very good. Good answer, Miss Robles. Papalakpakan kita. Revilla v. Sandigan Bayan? Pwede. Anti-terror law. I think that's that. Siguro. Kung may mag-challenge ng candidacy of the current president, pwede. 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 Importante tong mga to, ipang-totrol nyo to sa impeachment trial. Funny, pero oo. Things that are happening right now or could happen in the future na pwede nyong ipang-troll. What does this mean? Let's take for example, kuha tayong isang example. Yung anti-terror law. Assume natin na maraming mga maraming mga lalaban sa constitutionality niya. Assuming na mayroong ganun. We are intimately connected with the issue. Alam natin saan siya nanggaling, alam natin yung mga familiar tayo sa mga protesta na nangyari prior to its passage. Some of you even asked me to comment on it. I'm not gonna comment on something that's hypothetical. Decision on Boracay closure, pwede. Pero let's take that as an example, ang anti-terror law. Intimate ang knowledge nyo sa events. Current event siya at the time na kayo ay mga law students. Such that, pag nag-practice na kayo at nagtuturo kayo ng constitutional law, kapag ni-recite sa inyo to, alam na alam nyo kung nambobola ang prof. Nambobola estudyante. Okay ba? Do you now understand why they're assigned to us? Gets ba? Bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng mga tinatawag nilang generational cases? Yes, thank you. Yan, pwedeng maging generational case nyo ay ang anti-terror law. Constitutionality niyan. Pwede rin yung candidacy. Potentially. West Philippine Sea. Pwede yung mga yan. Kapag ganyan ang tema ng kaso, intimate sa prof, alam na alam niya dahil nandoon siya sa gitna ng laban. At a certain point, alam nila ang kaso forwards and backwards. Walang sagot kapag ganito. During my time, they assigned us Javellano versus Executive Secretary. I think it's 365 pages ng isang iskra. Maybe 380. Walang sagot kapag ganun kahaba ang kaso, kundi upuan siya. Blackout of a specific time. I used to use my Saturday nights for long cases. Bukas ka na naglalabas na ako ng popcorn, ng peanuts, ano man ang paborito kong snack food, plus ang paborito kong inumin. Now, if you were to read long cases, ano ang inyong inumin at pulutan? Type them in the comments below. Ay, sa chat box. Kape. Kape. Sige. Luha. Nako. Kape at stick O. Nako, napaka-adult niya. Napaka-wholesome mo. Lindon. Water lang. Nice. Milo. Di ako maniniwala kay Miss Oligario na Milo. Something greasy, syempre. At the Tito's Beer. Red Horse. Nako. Tubig lang daw, sapat na. Nice. San Mig Apple, Pilsen. Inabot nyo pa ba ang vodka cruiser? Oh, can I say that brand? Pwede pa ba yun? Inabot nyo ba yun? Sige. Hypothetically, this is one of those long cases na kailangan nating basahin. And let's hypothetically imagine that we're having whatever it is. Wow, Coco Crunch. You're having Coco Crunch with water. Water with nuts. Ilang cases usually ang pag sa Consti? Depende, 35 to 40 mahina na. Red Bull. No, I can't say brands. Ano ba? I can't say brands. Stop making me say them brands. Ikaw, Mr. Villarios, nakakalami ka na. Sige. Let's imagine for a moment. As I've mentioned before, ang laban sa Consti ay identifying the number of petitions. How many petitions are in this case? How many petitions do we have in this case? How many petitions do we have? Why were they filed? Against whom were they filed? We have two, correct? Thank you, Pam. Naku, dalawa na kayong Domingo dito. Walang sagot dito, kapatid, kapag mahabang kaso. Aralin lang. Sige. Who filed them? Who filed them? Who filed them? Itong two petitions na to. Who filed them? Who na tayo? Very good. Very good. It wasn't the Comelec. In effect, si Senator Grace po is now challenging the rulings of the Comelec. So, siya ang petitioner dito. Correct. Yan. Hindi si Comelec. What was the kind of action filed? Likan nga natin. Kind of action. Kind of action. I know it seems unfair. It seems like an unfair question, especially if you're in your first year. Ay, funny, Miss Acosta. Kinds. Sino na nagsisibro? Bagayas. Sino pa ba? Sino pa ba nagsisibro dito? Bagayas, Canoso, Putungan. I know you guys are there. Si Rivera. Miss Rivera, let's hear from you. Sige. They were challenging these rulings. Swerte nyo kung may sibro kayo ng first year. Kasi for every case you read after Civ Pro, alam nyo na, gets nyo na ano nangyayari. Anong grace abuse? Oh, nagising si Miss Rivera. Nalimpungatan. Wrong spelling. Sige. Okay, we're reading this case in the context of, remind ko lang, citizenship. Is this paragraph relevant to citizenship? Yes, no, maybe. Basahin natin. Is it relevant? Pahinging 15 seconds. Daming nag-yes ah. Why is it relevant? Why? Why is it relevant? It's relevant because it speaks. It's relevant because it speaks of her origin story. It shows her Filipino citizenship. That's a leap in logic yan. Leap in logic. Tumalon ka. Bago natin ma-prove na citizen siya. Ang question na lang nasa sa isip natin is whether or not citizen siya. Pero dahil alam na natin yung ending na dineclare siya na qualified, therefore, pumasok siya sa citizenship. Gets. If gets nyo, type gets. Diba, first step natin, we identified aling constitution siya nagpo-fall. Tapos we skipped ahead to the ending. Alam natin na the Supreme Court declared her to be qualified. Nasa page 40. Now we know na qualified siya. And therefore, it stands to reason, citizen siya. Kung gets natin na citizen siya, we are now able to identify which of the following paragraphs are relevant to our case. So, Mary Grace Natividad S. Paula Manzares was found abandoned as a newborn infant. Ay, nalulungkot talaga pag nakakarinig ako ng mga ganito eh. Siyempre, ayoko naman maging judgy. Pero, who abandons a newborn infant? Really sad. Really sad. Kasi, the most hauntingly beautiful thing I've ever heard in my life was my newborn baby's cry. Kasi doon na simula ng, hindi. Still, the most wonderful, hauntingly beautiful thing I've ever heard. Sige, gets. So she was abandoned as a newborn infant in the parish church of Haro. How do you say this? Sa amin na unfamiliar sa geography ng ating bansa. How do you say this? Is this Haro? Oh, it's Haro. Tapos, she was cared for by, who found him? Edgardo, militar. She was found in 3 September 1963. And parental care and custody over petitioner was passed on by Edgardo to his relatives. Why? Why would Edgardo pass on Bakit niya pinasa? There are no right or wrong answers here. Kasi pwedeng i-troll kayo ng professors. Ito-troll kayo. Bakit siya pinasa? Bibigay lang kayo ng hypothetical na sagot. Kahit na anong matinong sagot. May puntos na kayo. When you're asked for an opinion in class, be confident, say your opinion. Kasi ginajudge na kayo doon on how you present, how you sell your opinion. Kasi walang anak yung kapatid niya. Good answer. Incapacity to take care of the foundling. Yes. Incapacity to raise a child. Correct. Why? Why would you say incapable siya of raising a child? Ito, Rekilman. Why did you say they instead of one? Kasi sa facts natin, we only have Edgardo. There was no Edgarda. Can't afford to raise a child. Why? What's your basis? Ayaw ng girlfriend niya. Malapit ka na, Miss Oligario. Italon mo ng konti. He cannot provide. His wife. Where did the wife come from? Saan sa facts na meron siyang wife? Ayaw ng asawa niya. Dahil mahirap lang si Edgardo. Di naman sinabi na Supreme Court dito. He was found abandoned as a newborn infant in the parish church of Haro, Iloilo by a certain poor man. Di naman niya sinabing poor Edgardo, militar. Parenthesis, Edgardo. Why? Come on. Emiliano, militar, and his wife. Was he married? Was he married, Miss Oligario? What would be your basis? He was tired of taking care of the baby after 3 days. Laging walang tulog after 3 days. Pwede, very possible, yan, he's not ready to be a father. Naks. Walang kakalakihan na ba family yung bata? Pwede. He is in militar. Good answer, Miss Dasalia. Not for the classroom, but here on the stream, it's funny. He doesn't have a spouse. Pwede. He's probably single. Yes. Yes. Hindi ito parang yung Fatherhood. Very good movie on Netflix. No capacity to support. Single siya? Pwede, pwede. These are all good answers. Na kung tinanong kayo ng prof, tinroll kayo, masasagot nyo. Ilaban nyo lang. Matinong sagot plus laban nyo lang. Now, parental care and custody was passed on by Edgardo to his relatives. Emiliano militar and his wife. Oh, ito. Baka naman kaya na ng mga to. Now, Emiliano even reported and registered the petitioner as a foundling in the office of the civil registrar. And she was given the name Mary Grace Natividad Contreras Militar. Diba? Slightly complicated name, but yes. Sige, all good answers. Pag ganyan, pag tinroll kayo, lalo na kapag intimate ang knowledge ng professor sa case, pili lang kayo ng matinong sagot. Tapos, ilaban nyo lang. Next paragraph, is this relevant? Yes, no, maybe. Probably not. Is this relevant? Yes, no, maybe. Tejero, good answer. Kung masasabi mo yan with confidence in class, mailalaban mo yan. Is this relevant? Yes, no, maybe. Yes, no, maybe. Why? Diaz, why? Why is it relevant? Yes, it is relevant because... Yes, it is relevant because... Because... Let's look for a good answer. Because of... there is a typo error here. Katuglong pa pala niya yung next paragraph. Typo error ng batas app. It happens from time to time. Is this relevant? The petitioner's adoptive mother discovered only sometime in the second half of 2005 that the lawyer who handled the petitioner's adoption failed to secure from the OCR Iloilo a new certificate of live birth, indicating the petitioner's new name and the name of her adoptive parents. So 2006 siya nagkaroon ng bagong birth certificate. Yes? I'm rereading the same case. Parehas ba tayo ng nababasa? Details of adoption, correct. It's relevant because it speaks of her adoption, correct. And not only because of the fact of the adoption, but the errors, the missteps. Okay, moving on. It's relevant. Read it. If it's relevant, we should read it. Yan. Ito, is this relevant to citizenship? How about this one? Relevant ba itong dalawang to? Yes, no, maybe. Yes, no, maybe. Etong pagkuha niya ng kanyang voter's ID at Philippine passport, are they relevant to her citizenship? Yes, no, maybe. Yes, definitely with exclamation point. Sige nga, Mr. Martinez, why? Shot in the dark from Miss Oligario. Yes, because only Filipinos can have those. Wow, shot in the dark. Bakit sila? Bakit Pinoy lang? Can a resident alien drive in the Philippines? Can he obtain driver's license? Yes, no, maybe. Pinoy pride. Nice. Proof of her citizenship as a Filipino. Right to suffrage and proof of citizenship. Passport po ay nagpapatibay na Pinoy siya. Sige, building up on the answer of Miss Carlos. Why is it a privilege? Why is it a privilege? Sige. No answers yet. Is this relevant? Yes, it's relevant. Should we highlight it? Probably not. Next. Enrolled and pursued the degree in DevStud. Uy, nag-DevStud pala siya. DevStud. Nag-DevStud siya. Is this relevant? Yes, no, maybe. Ang kanyang education. Tapos fact ng marriage niya. Yan, not relevant. Correct. Hindi na siya ganun ka-relevant. Not as relevant as this one. This is important. Na bumoto siya, tapos nagka-passport siya. Citizenship ang issue dito ha, hindi yung residency. Kung inassign siya as resident, as under sa residency requirement ng foreign elected position as a candidate, then probably aralin natin tong fact ng pagiging registered voter niya. Saan siya nagparehistro? Sige. Itong education niya, probably relevant for residency but not for citizenship. Marriage, is that relevant? Ang marriage niya, is this relevant sa citizenship? Citizenship is important pagdating sa is relevant to marriage. Yes, no, maybe. Baliktad pala, sorry. Is the marriage relevant? So many are saying yes. Why yes? Sige. Kasi dadalawa sentence sa paragraph nito eh. Parang mas importante pa tong pangalawa. Desirous of being with her husband. Syempre, kakakasal lang nila. Who was then based in the US, the couple flew back to the US 2 days after the wedding ceremony or on 29 July 91. Is this relevant to citizenship? Yes, no. Yes, no. Yes, no. Mr. Galvez, why not? Mr. Divina Gracia, shot in the dark. Hindi, we are not talking about the children of the married couple. Ang ending ng kaso, the Senator Grace po came to court to challenge two rulings that sought to disqualify her on the grounds of citizenship and residency. X na muna natin yung residency, hindi naman din yun yung assignment. Ang assignment lang natin is citizenship. Sige. Now, as to the question of whether or not she was qualified to run, the Supreme Court declared that she was qualified. So, ang question na lang dito is whether or not ang citizenship, nire-resolve lang natin dito kung na-meet ba niya yung citizenship requirement. Now, yung marriage niya, is that relevant? Is that relevant? Itong mga anak nila. Next paragraph, itong mga anak nila. Relevant, not relevant. Think we can skip that. Petitioner came back to the Philippines together with Hannah, sa mga anak nila, to support her father's candidacy for president. Relevant, not relevant. Skip. Father's deteriorating medical condition. Nasaan ka noong 2004? Where were you? Anong year nyo na? High school, college, preschool. Nasaan kayo in 2004? This was around the time of the Hello Garcia scandal. Grade 4. Miss Oligario, seryoso ba? Huwag kami. Ibabulahin mo. Maniniwala pa ako si Miss Alsua, grade 4 eh. Nag-nursing, elementary, good answer. Grade 1 ng Hello Garcia? Preschool. Third year nursing. teacher na si Miss Carlos. Hindi pa buhay. In 05. Fourth year high school. First year high school. Nice. Prep pa lang po. Oy. To si Dave, maniniwala akong 2 years old pa lang siya at di pa siya nagsasalita. Ano nangyari tong Hello Garci? Naku, wag nyo na akong tanungin nasan na ako nung 05. Sakit sa puso ng mga ganyang tanong. End na natin tong stream. Basahin nyo na lang. May mga dagger in the heart kapag aging ang questions. Lalaro sa kalsada. Nice. Beautiful, wonderful times. Nakakasakit kayo ng damdamin. GG. End na natin to. Walkoutan ko kayo parang yung professor ni Isa Costa. Biglang nag-end daw ng call. Okay. Is this relevant? Pagtakbo ng tatay niya, is this relevant? Not relevant. Nagkasakit tatay niya. Namatay tatay niya. Relevant, not relevant. No, not relevant. Correct. Etong paglipat nila sa US, ng pet dog, bringing their pet dog into the country, ano to? Relevant, not relevant? Yes, no? Not relevant, not relevant. Oh, yan. So you see, mga kapatid, napapansin nyo ba yung patterns ng pagbabasa natin ng kaso? Parang we're now seeing what's important and what's not important. We can now feel free to skip ahead to the paragraphs that are relevant. Ito mga to, nilagay lang to para makabuo ng 800 pages eh. Etong pagbalik niya, yan. Nakauwi na daw siya ng Pilipinas, kumuha siya ng tin. Relevant, not relevant. Citizenship ha? Citizenship lang ang tanong. Natural born citizenship. Ay, sorry. Kung natural born Filipino siya. Relevant, not relevant? Not relevant. Skip na natin. Sige. She stayed briefly at her mother's place tapos bumili sila ng condo with parking. Nice. Sa 1 Wilson Place. Condo sa San Juan. I vaguely remember this building. Relevant, not relevant? Tapos pag-transfer ng mga anak niya sa Philippine private schools. Relevant, not relevant? Type. Is it relevant to citizenship, Miss Omnes? Sir Putungan, relevant ba to sa citizenship kung natural born Filipino siya kung saan nag-aaral ang mga anak niya? Relevant, not relevant? Divina Gracia, why? Okay. Sige, saan nag-aral yung mga anak niya, Miss Carlos? Why is it relevant? Or you're probably answering an earlier question. Sa pagiging natural born Filipino niya. Relevant ba iyon? Mr. Putungan. Hindi naman lahat ang binili. Sinabi naman, 1 condo unit with parking slot. Thank you, Miss Rivera, for the clarification. Wait lang something greasy. Let's do something greasy. Let's do something greasy in the Tito's drinks. May sumagot ng ganyan sa mga kaklase ko. I remember the harsh words that followed from our professor. Terror siya. Shine, kilala mo siya. Moonshine, kilala mo tong prof na to. Sige. Feb 14, Valentine's Day. Pumunta si petitioner sa US to dispose of the remaining family household belongings. Relevant, not relevant. Not relevant. Petitioner's husband officially informed the UPS, United States Postal Service. The sale of the family home. Relevant, not relevant. Okay. Resignation of the husband. Relevant, not relevant. Still not relevant. Ay, eto. Sige, dito nyo ilaban yan. In early 2006, petitioner and her husband acquired a 509 square meter lot in Corinthian Hills. Anyone familiar with this neighborhood? Yes. Familiar ba kayo? Yes. Type yes if you're familiar. Type yes if you're familiar. Familiarity muna, saka na yung relevance. Yes. Is it an expensive neighborhood? Miss Oligario. Esther Potungan. Is it an expensive neighborhood? Oh my God, you live there. Thank you for sharing, Mr. Adaw. Is it the same with Corinthian Gardens? Google nga natin. Kasi yung Corinthian Gardens, di ba yun yung over expensive? Eh, paano tong Corinthian Hills? Google nga natin, Comanti. Actually, kapag mahaba ang kaso, tapos nilaanan ko naman siya ng oras na magbasa. Google talaga ako ng mga ganito eh. Kano ba per square meter sa ganito? Yan. Google nga natin, pareho ba to? Talaga, kapitbahay niya siya. Itong dalawang to na hindi ko babanggitin. Mr. Adaw, thank you. Expensive neighborhood. Wow. Eh, syempre ba naman ang ipon nila, US dollars, inuwi nila. Eh, magandang laban nga naman yan. Pag-uwi nila. Malayo mararating ng pera nila. Oh, ito. On July 7, 2006, petitioner took her oath of allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines, pursuant to 9225. Under the same act, she filed with the BI, Bureau of Immigration, a sworn petition to reacquire Philippine citizenship, together with petitions for derivative citizenship on behalf of their 3 minor children. Relevant, not relevant. Naku, Leila, hindi kita masasagot. Depende sa kung kakaintindihan na tayo. Mayaga na tayong matatapos. Pero okay lang, you can watch the replay. Yan, relevant. Kulayan ba natin? Delete natin. Kulayan, di-delete. Kulayan natin. Iilan na nga lang yan eh. New passport. bearing the number XX4, 731999. Is that relevant? Pwede. Pero not important. Before assuming her post, ito, ikulayan nyo to. Yan. This is gonna be relevant. Why? Why is this relevant? Why is this relevant? Yung kinulayan ko, why is it relevant? Why is it relevant? And why is it necessary that you underline, highlight this sentence? Why is it relevant? Bakit importante to? You can only pledge allegiance to one country. Masyadong matalino yung sagot mo. Miss Oligario, babaan mong konti. Pointed in public position. Masyadong matalino. Bakit kailangan tong kulayan? Sige, spoil ko na ha. Kailangan yung kulayan to. Kasi, heto ang part ng facts na hindi sinasama sa mga digests. Dito kayo nabibisto. Kung binasa nyo tong full case, 838 pages, o nag-digest lang, nagpumulot lang kayo ng digest from the internet. Relevant siya, oo. Pero hindi to sinasama sa mga nagda-digest. So, I hope you appreciate bakit importante tong fact na to. Kasi kung intimate ang knowledge ni Professor sa topic na to, alam niya, sinundan niya yung career ni Senator. Gets nyo bakit importante to? Dito siya manghuhuli. Kung kaninong digest lang ang inaral nyo o nagbasa kayo ng full case with something greasy or ano sinulat nyo kanina, di ko pwedeng sabihin yung Coco Crunch. Nuts, water, lemonade, tea, whatever you need to get through this case. I hope I'm making sense kung bakit importante tong fact na to. If yes, type sense. Type sense if I'm making sense. Binibisto ko na kung saan kayo huhulihin ng mga professor nyo pagdating sa kaso na to. Sense. Thank you. It's making sense. Thank you. If it's making sense. Sige. Nice one, Miss Oligario. Sige. Gusto ko yung sense of humor mo. Let's continue. Yan. Importante to. Affidavit of renunciation of allegiance to the United States of America. Yan. She stopped using her American passport. Oath of affirmation. Oath or affirmation of renunciation. Ito. Paragraph na to. Relevant, not relevant. Relevant, not relevant. Ito. Relevant, not relevant. Relevant. Yan, relevant. Something's wrong with OBS again. So, kung na-DC ako, lipat na lang tayo ng ibang stream, ha? Sige. Something is awfully wrong with the OBS tonight. Yan. COC. For senator, 2013 elections. She answered 6 years and 6 months to the question. Ito kasi ang pinopoint ng isa sa mga, ito yung isa sa mga ibinabato sa kanya. 6 years, 6 months. Would be relevant kung residency requirement ang laban, but not relevant to citizenship. Kung natural born siya. Ayan, now we go to the meat of the matter. How about this paragraph? The paragraph selected in blue, highlighted in blue. Relevant, not relevant. Yung nasa blue, relevant or not relevant? In her COC, ano to, Clash of Clans, the petitioner declared that she is a natural-born citizen and that her residence in the Philippines up to the date, before May 9, 2016, would be 10 years and 11 months, counted from May 05. Relevant, not relevant? Very relevant. Kasi ito na yung meat of the matter. Very, very relevant. Correct, Mr. Galvez. Very, very correct. Sige. And now we end the facts. Of the case. Dito na tayo. First petition laban sa kanya. What was the main argument ni El Amparo? Saan dito? Dapat kulayan. Excuse me. Dito, sa paragraph na to, ano dapat kulayan natin? Natural born, typo. Saan tayo magsisimula? One sentence here that pops out. Saan tayo magsisimula? 5th and 6th line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 and 6. Ito ba? Sabihin na natin yung 7 para buong sentence. Why did we highlight this? Why is this super important? Thank you, LJ. Diyan tayo magsisimula. You are correct, LJ. Thank you for joining us. 11 na. Yan. Fall squarely on the issue. Correct. Next paragraph. On the issue of citizenship, El Amparo argued that petitioner cannot be considered as a natural-born Filipino on account of the fact that she was a foundling. Oh. Who is a foundling? Sa ating murang mga isipan bilang first year, first semester. Who is a foundling? Who is a foundling? Who is a foundling? Command T, Google. Foundling, meaning. Nako. Dinidefine pa lang natin in layman's terms. Ano ang foundling? Ano ang mababaw na understanding natin sa foundling? Abandoned bebe. Ampon. Why is ampon wrong? Why is ampon wrong? Abandoned infant. Pwede. So, bakit ampon is wrong? Wag sinagot mo sa klase, ampon, Miss Diaz. Bakit? Why would you be wrong? Ampon is adopted. Correct. Oo. So yung mga joke ng mga kapatid natin na pinulot ka lang daw sa pupo ng karabaw, medyo may relevance pala, no? Napulot, oo. Yan, napulot. May ampon po na di foundling, correct? Correct, Mr. Putungan. Sige. Argument ni El Amparo. Grace po is a foundling. Under international law, does not confer natural-born status and Filipino citizenship on foundlings. Following this line of reasoning, petitioner is not qualified to apply for reacquisition of Filipino citizenship, for she is not a natural-born Filipino citizen to begin with. Yan. Ito ang puso ng argument niya. Wala kang i-reacquire kung never ka namang naging citizen. Wala kang babalikan kung never na naging kayo. Ha? Clear? Clear as mud. Clear as mud. Wala kang babalikan kasi never naman naging kayo. Clear as muddy water. Yan. Sige. Now, kunwari hindi natin alam yung ruling na Supreme Court. Would this argument make sense? Would you kunwari hindi natin alam yung ending ng case? Kung hindi natin nilaktawan yung ending. Would you say El Amparo is correct? Would you say El Amparo is correct? Yes, no, maybe. In some other constitutional law cases, ganyan lang din ang reasoning nila eh. The stream cannot rise higher than the source. Parang sa REM, hindi ka pwedeng humingi ng extension on something na expired na. Applying the same logic. See guys, this is why it's important to skip ahead to the ending. Kung hindi natin alam yung ending, kung hindi natin alam yung ending, hindi natin malalaman na qualified si Senator Grace po. Kung hindi natin nalaman na qualified siya, then pwedeng nasway tayo sa argument ni El Amparo. Gets bakit tayo tumatalon sa ending? Gets. Type gets kung bakit kailangan yung ending. Kasi kung hindi natin alam yung ending, hindi tayo sure sa ending ng kaso, pwedeng maalala mo to sa pagmamadali mo dahil hindi mo siya nabigyan ng oras. Sa pagmamadali mo, feeling mo this is the argument that made sense. And therefore, you tend to remember the arguments that make sense. And therefore, pwedeng madulas ka sa klase at isagot mo na tama po si El Amparo. Yan. Thank you at I'm still making sense. Sige. Even assuming arguendo that petitioner was a natural-born Filipino, she is deemed to have lost that status when she became a naturalized American citizen. According to El Amparo, natural-born citizenship must be continuous from birth. Dito naman ito nagiging fallacious. We'll see why later. On the matter of petitioner's residency, ganun ang bungad ng case, ng paragraph. Relevant, not relevant. Miss Carlos, are you answering the previous question kung gets o sinasagot mo na itong new question, whether not relevant or not relevant? No, not relevant ba yun, Miss Carlos? O there's something you'd like me to clarify? Not relevant on the issue of citizenship. Yes. So, we can skip this. Ayan, ito na ang mga counter-arguments niya. Petitioner seasonably filed her answer wherein she countered that the COMELEC did not have jurisdiction. Jurisdiction, one of the arguments we're interested in. Kung ang topic lang natin ay citizenship. Is jurisdiction relevant? Yes, no, maybe. Failure to state a cause of action. Relevant? Yes, no, maybe. Not in regards to citizenship. Wow, Miss Olegario. Thank you for being correct. Okay. She did not, itong third argument niya, she did not make any material misrepresentation in the COC regarding her citizenship and residency qualifications for A. The 1934 Constitutional Convention deliberations show that foundlings were considered citizens. Foundlings are presumed under international law to have been born of citizens of the place where they are found. She reacquired her natural-born Philippine citizenship under the provisions of 9225. Relevant, not relevant. Kulayan na natin to. Kasi ito yung pinakabala niya. Pero hindi lahat. Skip. Parang may residency pa siya eh. Ito. This is important kasi she's relying on rules of construction. Tapos the presumption under international law. Pero wala siyang citation, sayang. Burden was on El Amparo. Sworn renunciation. Ayan. Ito. Relevant. Residence, not relevant. She could re-establish residence even before she reacquired natural-born citizenship. Debatable point of law. Honest mistake daw ite. Kulayan natin. Kasi parang exculpatory to eh. Ito rin. This is in protest. Relevant but not all. Correct. Sige, dito na tayo. How did the COMELEC Second Division rule on the instant petition to deny due course? Medyo magulo, di ba? Kasi there's the petition to deny due course. Kung ang petition to deny ay granted, anong ending? Can she run or not run? Can she run or not run? Ang blue kapatid na kinulayan ko dito are exculpatory statements could be debatable depending on the evidence. Something na pwedeng tanungin ng opinion nyo dito. So, going back to my question, there is a petition to deny and that petition was granted. Can she run or not run? Run, not run. She cannot run or not run. She cannot. Double negation, no? Lakas nilang makaano. She cannot run. Anong run? Dave, bakit? Saan mo nakuha yun? There is a petition to deny. And that petition to deny was granted. Therefore, ang ending niya ay denial. So, can she run or she cannot run? Cannot run. Dave, I hope you understand. She cannot run. Yan, okay ka na. Thank you, Dave. Sige. Motion for reconsideration was filed. Ito, resolved it in its December 25, December 23. Wow, sipag nila. Tumira pa bago Pasko. Denying the same. Sige. Now, this is the second petition. Balikan lang natin tong first petition. I've always said argument-based ang mga Consti cases. So, for the purposes na maalala lang natin siya. Ang original argument ni El Amparo was that she committed material misrepresentation, that Poe alleges that she is a natural-born Filipino citizen. Period. Now, El Amparo argues that Poe cannot be considered as a natural-born Filipino on account of the fact that she was a foundling. Sabi sa international law daw, there is no natural-born status for Filipino citizenships on foundlings. By this reason, she is not qualified to apply for reacquisition because she was never a natural-born Filipino citizen to begin with. Maganda, di ba? Masusway ka ng logic niya. Very solid argument. Dito, nagiging fallacious na. Saan niya kinuha to? So, in her answer, ano ba ang sagot niya ni Senator Grace Poe? Under the 34 Constitutional Convention, foundlings were considered citizens. Tapos, foundlings are presumed under international law to have been born of citizens of the place where they are found. Yan ang counter-argument niya. Sige. Clear? Clear? Please type clear. Kung malinaw yung first petition, please yung arguments nila. Yan, thank you. Arguments based ang mga constitutional law questions. So kung clear kung paano natin pagbabanggain yung dalawa, there is nothing to renew. If she was a foundling, there is nothing to renew, nothing to reacquire kasi she was not a natural-born citizen to begin with. Ang sagot naman niya, ayon sa 34 Constitutional Convention deliberations, shoot ako. Foundling man ako, I am a natural-born Filipino citizen. Tapos yung dalawang arguments nila, sabi ng isa, under international law, no foundling, no natural-born status. Sabi ng isa, sabi ni, ang sagot naman ni Senator Grace Poe, natural-born citizens are, yan, thank you. Natural-born citizens, foundlings are given a natural-born status. Excuse me. According to international law. Sige. Tapos, ang ending niya, the petition to deny due course was granted and therefore she could not run. And then she tried a motion for reconsideration. Same. Dinenay pa rin ang kanyang petition to, denying the same. Dinenay ang motion for reconsideration. Sige. Let's look at the second petition. Clear as mud. Who filed the second petition? Kulayan lang natin. Francisco Estatad, Contreras, and Valdez. Tatad alleged that petitioner lacks the requisite residency and citizenship to qualify for her presidency. Kulayan natin. Kasi yun yung sinabi ni Tatad. Ang theory ni Tatad is that the Philippines adheres to the principle of jus sanguinis or jus sanguinis. What does this mean? In broad strokes, ano ang jus sanguinis? Jus sanguinis. Come on, Command T, Google. Anong English word na merong sanguine? Sanguinis. It's a Latin term. Pero give me blood-related, by blood, birth by blood, by blood. English word, modern English word, kung saan ginamit ang root word na sanguinis. Consanguinity, good answer. Good answer. Yan. That's why we know sanguinis comes from blood. Sanguine. Consanguinity, good answer. Ano pa? Exsanguination, what's that? Exsanguination. The accused, exsanguinated. The 4 victims. Ano yon? What does that mean? Something na napapanood natin sa mga medyo remarim na series, crime drama. Draining blood. Drained of blood. Nice. Nanonood pala ng horror tong si Miss Oligario. The way I remember exsanguination and jus sanguinis was through... Sino dito nanonood ng elementary? Vampire stuff? Elementary. Yan. Elementary. So hindi ko maalala sino yung mga actors doon. Lucy Liu. Yan. Lucy Liu, the modern Watson. That's how I remember exsanguination. Lalo na sangre. Nice. Lucy Liu, correct. Sino yung dalawa? Hindi ko sila maalala. Tsaka yung interpretation nila ni Moriarty. Sige. Ay, I think siya din yung ano. Sorry pampawala lang ng ating mga antok. Si Moriarty ng elementary, ay siya rin ba si what's her face? Marjorie Tyrell. Tama ba? Anyone here? Mr. Bagayas, kau natatawagin ko. Or cinema nerds. Mga maraming oras manood ng series at movies. Elementary. Siya ba? Si Marjorie Tyrell at si Moriarty ay iisa. Tatad theorized that since the Philippines adheres to the principles of jus sanguinis, persons of unknown parentage, particularly foundlings, cannot be considered natural-born Filipino citizens since blood relationship is determinative of natural-born status. Very persuasive din, no? Tatad invoked the role of StatCon, that what is not included is excluded. Stretch. A little stretch. He averred that the fact that foundlings were not expressly included in the categories of citizens in the 35 Constitution is indicative of the framers' intent to exclude them. Lalaki si Moriarty? Oo, pero sa elementary alam ko babae siyang in-interpret siya as babae. Sa books, yes, lalaki. Dun din kay Cumberbatch. Sa series ni Cumberbatch. Alam ko lalaki din siya dun. But not sa elementary. Which is... Thank you for trying, Mr. Bagayas. Sige. Balikan na natin to. He averred that the fact that the foundlings were not expressly included in the categories of citizens in the 35 Constitution is indicative of the framers' intent to exclude them. Would you agree? Would you agree? Agree or disagree? Kung hindi natin alam yung ending ng case, sa nilatag lang, ni Tatad, would you agree? Yes, no, maybe. No opinion on the matter. Yes, no, somehow. Too sleepy to form an opinion. Hindi siya persuasive. Tatad has no basis. Ang naging basis niya yung rule on statcon. Kasi kung pointless ang petition niya, hindi na tayo umabot dito. Now, therefore, the burden lies on petitioner to prove that she is a natural-born citizen. Neither can petitioner seek refuge under international conventions. According to Tatad, international conventions and treaties are not self-executory. Stretch that local legislations are necessary in order to give effect to treaty obligations assumed by the Philippines. Could be a stretch. Ito na. Meat of the matter. Tatad claimed that petitioner cannot avail of the option to reacquire citizenship because it only applies to former natural-born citizens and petitioner was not, as she was a foundling. Ito na, meat of the matter na tayo. Or ito, refers to the 10-year residency requirement. Is it relevant for citizenship? Yes, no, maybe. Is this relevant? Ito. Itong paragraph na to. Yes, no. Relevant? Not relevant. Not relevant. Not relevant kasi residency ang laban. Ito. Nako, irrelevant to. Si Valdez naman, what was his argument? Her repatriation under 9225 did not bestow upon her the status of a natural-born citizen. He advanced the view that former natural-born citizens who are repatriated and reacquires only their Philippine citizenship and will not revert to their original status as natural-born citizens. Kukulayan natin siya kasi ito na yung argument ni Valdez. Kasi arguments-based tayo pagdating sa Consti. Although we may not necessarily agree. Kasi by legal fiction na kasi itong argument ni Valdez. I hope I'm still making sense. Yan, sinagot na naman nila to. Residency. No. Contreras petition limited the attack to the residency issue. So, si Contreras, relevant ba siya sa citizenship? Yes, no, maybe. Contreras, whose petition did not discuss citizenship. Should we read this or skip? Type skip. Type skip kung lalaktawan na natin siya. O pag-aaksayahan natin siya ng laway. Type skip. Sige, skip na natin. Skip. Now, petitioner raised the following arguments. Paano kaya sinagot ni Senator Grace po yung dalawa? Dalawang argument sa kanya. One is a reiteration. One is opening up ius sanguinis. The second is mula kay Tatad pa rin ha, not self-executory daw ang international conventions. And the third, recycle ni El Amparo. The option to reacquire only applies to former natural-born citizens. Parang similar nga. Oo. Kay Valdez naman, legal fiction. Ang reacquisition under 9225, sabi niya, those who avail of the benefits of 9225 only reacquire their Philippine citizenship and not their original status as natural-born citizens. Yan. So, paano? Si Contreras, we skip. Paano niya sinagot? Failure to state a cause of action. Naku, rem na remedy to. Not relevant. Tapos procedurally, their petitions are infirm kasi co-waranto. Something you will later learn sa rem. I'd love to discuss rem. Ayoko lang buksan ng rem dahil uumagahin tayo. Okay, I hope you understand bakit hindi ako humahawak kapag rem. Mapapakwento ko, kapatid. Uumagahin tayo. Burden of proving, again, does not attack the substance. Oh, ito na. Wait. Naalimpungatan ng aking aso. Siya ay nagkakamot-kamot ngayon sa aking paanan. Ito, fourth argument. Customary international law dictates that foundlings are entitled to a nationality and are presumed to be citizens of the country where they are found. Consequently, petitioner is considered a natural-born citizen. Same argument niya, di ba? Insert lang niya ng konti yung customary. Kinwalify lang niya yung international law. To answer, kinwalify niya yung international law as customary international law. Kasi ang binabato sa kanya pertains to the non-self-executory nature of international law. Again, something else to think about. She claimed that as a natural-born citizen, she has every right to be repatriated under RA 9225 or the right to reacquire her natural-born status. Sinagot lang niya in the negative yung petition ni Valdez. Official acts, nako, nambato na siya ng official acts of the Philippine government enjoy the presumption of regularity. For those who are following persons, here's a new word, presumption. Himay, no? Himay natin yung kaso. Parang, I hope I'm showing you how, the process. I hope you appreciate the process ng panghihimay ng Consti cases. I know feeling nyo mabagal siya at this point, but you'll get better. Page 10 na tayo. So, this. Reestablishing her domicile of choice. Nako, domicile na to. Bumili daw siyang kondo, paggawa siya ng bahay sa very expensive neighborhood. Is it relevant to citizenship? Yes, no. Relevant, not relevant. Relevant, not relevant. Relevant, not relevant. Come on, pagpapagawa niya ng bahay. Relevant, not relevant to citizenship, to natural born status. Relevant, not relevant. Dave, why did you say yes? Oh, Miss Oligario, you're changing your mind. Why? O sige, bakit relevant yung bahay? Alin sa dalawang arguments ni Tatad o sa nag-iisang argument ni Valdez at sa mga arguments ni Contreras na ating nilaktawan ang sinasagot ng paragraph na to? Saan siya counter? Sige. Saan siya counter sa unang dalawa? Anong argument ang binabangga niya? Aling argument ang binabangga nitong nitong paragraph? About domicile, family home, paglipat ng mga bata. Alin ang sinasagot niya? Alin? It's not relevant. It's not relevant because it's off-topic. Citizen lang tayo. Citizenship. It's not relevant because it does not answer any of the arguments. It's not relevant. Wala siyang kinalaman. Wala siyang kinalaman sa unang dalawang arguments na binato ni Tatad saka kay Valdez. Domicile, again, not relevant. Sige. Procedurally, the COMELEC First Division ruled that petitioner is not a natural-born citizen. Yun lang. Hindi natin kailangan i-touch tong 10-year residency. Hindi natin kailangan i-touch tong material misrepresentation. Ang ruling lang ng COMELEC First Division, not a natural-born citizen. Wherefore, premises considered, the Commission resolved as it hereby resolves to grant the petition and cancel the certificate of candidacy. Kung na-cancel ang certificate of candidacy, can she run, not run? Okay, let me walk back. Let me walk back. Let me walk back through. Paano tayo napunta dito? Balikan lang natin, ha. Si Tatad, ang sinabi lang niya, 1, jus sanguinis. Pangalawa, statcon. Ito, not self-executory ang mga international conventions. Actually, 1 and 2, magkasama lang to. Foundlings, parentage. Jus sanguinis, that's 1. Second argument niya, international conventions and treaties. Nilahat niya, hindi niya kinwalify, are not self-executory. Pangatlong argument niya, katulad nung kay El Amparo. Okay, three arguments why Grace Poe should not be considered as a natural-born citizen. Yan. Si Valdez, iisa argument niya. By legal fiction. Parang, what they reacquire is Philippine citizenship only and they will not revert to their original status as natural-born citizens. Sige. If you have to write that down, write that down. Dadalawang threads natin dito. Si Contreras, iniskip natin. Kasi hindi niya kasi puro residency ang issue niya. Now, let's go over the defenses of Grace Poe. First, is a procedural defense. Second, is a procedural defense. Third, is a matter of evidence. Yan. Ang fourth argument niya, doon niya sinalag yung number 2 argument ni Tatad. Sabi kasi ni Tatad, international law international law, hindi sila self-executory. Kinwalify naman niya. Customary international law dictates that foundlings are entitled to a nationality and are presumed to be citizens of the country where they are found. Consequently, the petitioner is considered a natural-born citizen of the Philippines. Yan ang argument niya. This fourth argument, bumabangga siya kay argument number 2 ni Tatad. Gets? Type gets kung yes. Type gets kung malinaw na. Bakit 1:1? Kino-connect natin to 1:1. Halin yung relevant at not relevant sa mga defenses niya. Sige, ito. She claimed that as a natural-born citizen, she has every right to be repatriated under RA 9225 or the right to reacquire natural-born citizen status. Natural-born status. Anong argument ang binabangga nito? Itong defense niya, kanino siya directed? It's directed to Valdez, who claims that former natural-born citizens who are repatriated under 9225 reacquire only their Philippine citizenship and they will not return to their original status as natural-born citizens. So itong defense na to, anong binabangga niya? Anong binabangga ng defense na to? Backread tayo. Sige. Does not answer anything sa mga unang binato sa kanya. 7. She insisted that she could legally re-establish her domicile. Again, domicile. Not relevant to citizenship. Gets, kapatid? Okay na. Type okay kung we can continue. Bakit? Dahil argument-based ang Consti at pinagbabangga natin sila. Type okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Now, moving on. Let's go to the ruling of the COMELEC First Division. That Grace Po is not a natural born citizen. Sorry. So, ang resolution nila is to grant the petition and cancel the certificate of candidacy. Kung canceled ang certificate of candidacy, can she run or not run? Can she run or not run? Cannot run. Cannot run. Sige. Let's hear from the others. Can she run or not run? You are all correct. She cannot run. Kasi kung pinayagan naman siyang tumakbo, hindi naman tayo aabot sa Supreme Court. So, nag-try naman siya ng motion for reconsideration. And the motion for reconsideration was denied. Yan. Petitioner instituted the present petitions for certiorari with the urgent prayer for the issuance of an ex parte TRO, status quo ante order, preliminary injunction. Yan. Not relevant to us. This is procedural. The issue before the COMELEC is whether or not the COC of petitioner should be denied due course or cancelled on the exclusive ground. Nilimit ng Supreme Court ang arguments niya that she made a false material representation. The exclusivity of the ground should hedge in the discretion of the COMELEC and restrain it from going into the issue of qualifications of the candidate for the position, if, as in this case, such issue is yet undecided or undetermined by the proper authority. The COMELEC cannot itself, in the same cancellation case, decide the qualification or lack thereof of the candidate. Very important. Why is this important? Why is this important? Why is this important? Why is this important? Itong statement na nililimit ng Supreme Court. Jurisdiction, pwede. No jurisdiction, pwede rin. Bakit nililimit ng Supreme Court on the exclusive ground? Not within their capacity. Pwede. Sige. To avoid grave abuse of discretion. Okay, let's start with the hypothetical. Sino dito ang single? Type single sa comments. Sa chat box, sorry. Single. Sino sa inyo ang single? Oh, si Dave. Dave is single. Sige. Who else is single? Single, 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 single. Nice. Sige. Oh, double. Ready to mingle, Mr. Burgos. Funny. Sige. Ganito. Oh. Those of you who answered single, sige. Ganito. Assume natin na pili tayong isa. Mr. Bagayas. Sige. Mr. Bagayas, assume natin na meron kang hypothetical na girlfriend. At nahuli ka niya na... nahuli ka niya na nambababae in 2020. Last year nambabae ka. Pero napatawad ka na niya, Mr. Bagayas. Hypothetical lang game. Sige. 2020 nung nambabae ka. Ngayon, may away kayo. Ang away niya, wala kang time. Wala kang oras sa kanya. Wala kang time sa iyong hypothetical girlfriend. Ngayong inaaway ka niya na wala kang time. At nilimit mo ang inyong away sa wala kang time. Can she bring up na once upon a time nang babae ka? Can she bring up issues sa iyong pag-inom sa labas? Sa iyong violation ng health and safety protocols? Can she open issues na like masyado kang close kay, let's pick a name, kay Miss Oligario, yan, saka kay Miss Centeno? Can she open those? Ngayong nilimit mo na yung issue. Pwede mo bang sabihin sa iyong hypothetical girlfriend, naku, bad analogy ba to? Kasi alam naman natin, the ladies in the class would always want to go to the genesis of every issue. Oh, sa murang isipan ni Dave, pwede daw. No, because there is already limitation. Ideally, correct ka, Dave. No, kasi huhungkatin lahat yan kung hindi na-limit yung issue. So, pure analogy on my part, not a teaching moment. Sorry for the gentlemen in the class. Sorry. Pwede kasi mahal niya. Soligaryo. Huwag mo kami patawanin. Huwag mo kami binabola dyan. In reality, oo, uungkatin yan. Pero ideally, assume natin na yung jowa ay law student din. At marunong naman din, nag-rem na rin siya. At alam niya ang issue lang dito ay kawalan ng oras. Presumption of innocence, good answer. Sige. Yun ang purpose bakit tayo naglilimit ng issues. Para hindi na ungkatin yung mga ganyan. Napatawad ka na't lahat. Nasakdal ka na. At lahat. Love conquers all. Res judicata. I wish pwedeng sabihin yan na res judicata daw. Huwag tayong ma-issue sa buhay. I wish. Oo, sana limited. Kaso, as the ladies in the class, in the stream, would now care, would have made abundantly clear. Jurisdiction. Paps, meron siyang jurisdiction, jowa niya eh. Kawalan ng oras is perfectly relevant to them. Hindi mo pwedeng lack of jurisdiction unless wala silang label. Ayun lang. Dagger in the heart. Sana hindi na pwedeng buksan. Pero wala eh. Mabubuksan yan. That's the purpose of limiting issues. In this case, the issues were limited to mag-break na lang kayo. Harsh naman ni Miss Angeles. Nako. Mapanakit siya ng damdamin. So, the issues in this case are limited to what? Ano lang ang pwedeng ungkatin dito? Anong pwedeng ungkatin dito? Wish natin, stare decisis, pwedeng ibato yan. Kaso hindi, bubuksan yan. Jowa ang supreme law of the land. Unfortunately, to a certain extent, I would have to agree. Saan pwedeng ilimit dito? Dahil sinabi ng Supreme Court, balikan ko tong paragraph nila. The issue before the COMELEC is whether or not the COC of petitioner should be denied due course or cancelled on the exclusive ground that she made in the certificate a false material representation. The exclusivity of the ground should hedge in the discretion of the COMELEC and restrain it, ladies, from going into the issue of qualifications of the candidate for the position. If, as in this case, such issue is yet undecided or undetermined by the proper authority, the COMELEC cannot itself, in the same cancellation case, decide the qualification or lack thereof of the candidate. Saan pwedeng ilimit? Natural citizenship? No. Initially, tatatlo issue dito You have the lack of citizenship, lack of failure to meet the residency requirements, and for the material misrepresentation. Doon nila binabato. Saan? Saan natin pwedeng ilimit? I'll give you guys 30 seconds to read back. Read back. Saan pwedeng ilimit? I think I see one or two correct answers. One or two correct answers. Baka gusto nyong kopyahan na tong mga to. The Supreme Court in this case limited the discussion on a false material representation. Did she lie on her COC? That's the question. Actually, that's the umbrella question. Specifically, what's relevant for our class, for your assignment, is citizenship. Sige, let's read through the decision. Is this relevant? Powers of the COMELEC. Parang hindi. Laktawan na natin. Siyan, laki ng nabawas nyo. Can the COMELEC be such judge? Not relevant. Citizenship ang hinahanap na natin dito eh. Romualdez lectured, Justice Mendoza lectured in Marcos. Romualdez Marcos, that? Okay. Skip. Grounds for disqualification. Any candidate who does not possess all the qualifications of a candidate as provided for by the Constitution or by existing law, or who commits any act declared by law to be grounds for disqualification, may be disqualified from continuing on as a candidate. Okay. Okay na citation, but that's not answer for us. Citizenship. Yeah. Citizenship. Can anyone find anong page na nagsimulang mag-discuss on citizenship? Ang SC. Can anyone give me the page? Miss Acosta, mga masipag magbasa dyan ahead of us. Acosta. Alsua. Saan at saan dito? Yung magsisimula lang mag-discuss ang Supreme Court. Oh, how about this one? Dito na ba? It is certain that such relationship is indemonstrable. She now has the burden to present evidence to prove her natural filiation with the Filipino parent. To, relevant na ba to? Ito na ba? Nagsa-start na bang mag-discuss ang Supreme Court dito? About citizenship? Is this one? Page 151. Naku, malayong talon yun, Brad. Baka hindi yun yung main decision. Kasi yung main decision ended at page 40 eh. Page 18. Is Carlos. Sige nga, page 18. Baka ito. Ito na ba? 151. Siya, masyadong malayong talon ito. The main decision ended at 15. Yan, Alsua. Coming back alive. Page 18 sa PDF. Ay, 19 daw sa PDF. Baka 18 sa akin dito sa Word. Yes, no, maybe. Baka ito na. At the outset, it must be noted that presumptions regarding paternity is neither unknown nor unaccepted in Philippine law. The Family Code of the Philippines has a whole chapter on paternity and filiation. Super excited to discuss this with you guys sa ating separate series on family relations. Sige. Parenthetically, the burden of proof. There is more than sufficient evidence that petitioner has Filipino parents and is therefore a natural-born Filipino. Maraming umalma sa decision ng Supreme Court nito. Pause lang muna natin tong discussion ha. More on the leaps in logic that, maraming umalma sa decision na to dahil sa dito. And we will later on read why. Sige. Ito, it's a matter of evidence. Should have known that the private respondents should have shown that both of her petitioner's parents were aliens. Tama nga naman. This is an evidentiary matter. The burden of proof was on private respondent, to show that petitioner is not a Filipino citizen. Sige. Her admission that she is a foundling did not shift the burden to her because such status did not exclude the possibility that her parents were Filipinos, especially as in this case. There is a high probability, if not certainty, that her parents are Filipinos. Kung meron kayong isang iuuwi na paragraph dito on citizenship, this would probably be it. Tapos the rest are supporting. Sige. Yan. Dito na. May mga umalma rin dito. Kasi the Supreme Court used stats. The total number of foreigners born in the Philippines was 15,986, while the total number of Filipinos born in the country was 10,558,278. The statistical probability that any child born in the Philippines in that decade is a natural-born Filipino was 99.83%. For her part, petitioner presented census statistics for 1960 and 70. In 60, there were 4,735 foreigners. Yan. To. So, what is the Supreme Court trying to tell us sa paragraph na to? What is the Supreme Court trying to tell us with this paragraph? Why? What? What? Yes, correct. Correct, Miss Carlos. Correct. It is statistically probable that her parents were Filipinos too. Yan. High chance na Pinoy si Poe. Chance of being born as a natural citizen. Yan. Correct. Miss Oligario, why are you correct now? Why weren't you correct last Sunday? Sige. Correct. Next paragraph. Other circumstantial evidence of the nationality of the petitioner's parents are the fact that she was abandoned as an infant in a Roman Catholic church in Iloilo. She has typical Filipino features. Maraming nag-react negatively sa case na to dahil sa paragraph na to. She has typical Filipino features. Height, flat nasal bridge. Ano to? Pango? Is that pango? Flat nasal bridge. Flat nasal bridge. Flat nasal bridge. Ito ba ang pango? Ba nasal bridge? Oo, pango. Tama ba? Flat nasal bridge. Yes, no? Yes, no? Anong tawag doon? Hindi pa ba siya pango? Mababa yung tuktok sa ilong. Oh, this is pango. Straight black hair. So ano, pag kulot ka hindi ka na Pinoy o improbable na Pinoy ka? Bakit ang daming kulot na Pinoy? Parang, would you agree on this? Typical na straight hair. Typical ang straight hair sa Pinoy. Rebanded lang daw. Nihimay natin tong kaso. This is purely academic. No discrimination here. Pangu ba to? Kasi baka itanong sa akin to sa resit eh. Ano ba tong flat nasal bridge? Flat nasal bridge. Sir, maliit po yung butas ng ilong. Yun ba yun? Parang mali. Kulot dati, nagpa-reband na. I cannot say brands, pero natawa ako. Natawa ako, Mr. Burgos. Yan. Baka naman noong time nila, 60s and 70s, na lahat ng mga baby ay straight hair, almond-shaped eyes. Ano ang almond-shaped eyes? Almond-shaped eyes. Almond-shaped eyes. Ito ba ay singkit o singkitin? Oh. Write that down. Parang Korean eye. Eh di Korean siya. Di Pinoy eh. Diba ang prototypical mata ng mga Pinoy? Singkit, singkitin. Pili. Kung singkit siya, tatawagin ko siyang Vietnamese. Hindi naman, nasa jeans. Eh foundling siya. LJ. Saan natin nanakawin yung Bilog ang mata. Malaki ang mata. Yun ba ang almond eyes? Di naman singkit ang Pinoy. Nice. Pagandang pagdebatihan nyo to sa mga kaklase nyo, ha? Ninuno niya mixed race, pwede. Budlat. Is that Filipino? Ano ang budlat? It sounds bastos. Sorry, hindi, not familiar with that. It sounds bastos. Not perfectly round. May po pag almond. Sharing an eye. Bilugin ata na black ang pupil? Pwede. Sige. So, walang sumagot ng singkit or singkitin. Slightly round. Round at the middle but pointed at both ends. Pwede. Ang guest ko this Friday, ayoko munang i-promote. Law school story time tayo this Friday. I'm going to bring in someone. Mag-interview tayo ng... Mag-interview tayo, tapos magkukwento siya about sa kanyang law school story. Sige. Balato nyo sa akin ng Biyernes, hindi ako mag-i-stream nun. Premiere lang. Dahil lalabas na daw ang bagong season ng La Casa de Papel. Mahirap po kasi mixed na ang Filipino race. Pwede. Almond eyes. Budlat. It's not bastos. Thank you for the clarification, Mr. Bagayas. Budlat is a Bisaya term for malaking mata. Oo nga naman, no? Kung ito-drawing ko siya, medyo malaki ang mata niya. Ka-shape ng almond. Grabe, food na naman tayo at food cravings. Saan ako hahanap ng almonds ng 11:43 p.m.? Maputi siya para sa ordinary Filipina. Agree. Agree, Ms. Reckelman. Pero hindi ba ito nakukuha sa hindi pagbibilad? At dahil mayaman sila. Sige. Straight black hair, almond eyes, and an oval face. Does she have an oval face? I see that she has high cheekbones. Kojik. Pwede palang makuha sa Kojik yan. Gluta. Can I say brands? Are those brands? Mga generic terms na tong mga to. Baka naman pwede ko silang sabihin at hindi ako nagbabiolate ng brands. Sige. There is a disputable presumption that things have happened according to the ordinary course of nature and the ordinary habits of life. Highlight ko to. Can I ask, ano ang disputable presumption? Those who have been following persons, ano ang disputable? Laking aircon, nice one. Mga lagong belo, syempre may pera na sila. Although I doubt na may belo na that time. Ayan. Yes, sa Bicol, ang tawag sa ganun ay burarat. Again, sounds bastoser. Sounds bastoser. I'm gonna go with budlat. Can be overturned by evidence. Rebuttable. What's rebuttable? Pwedeng ipuwet ulit. Debatable. 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 Presumed correct until proven wrong. Sige. Almond Meiji. Guys, huwag tayo nagbabanggit ng food. Sinasabliminal nyo ako eh. Okay. Rebuttable. Not yet established. O valid until overturned. There is a disputable presumption that things have happened according to the ordinary course of nature and the ordinary habits of life. All of the foregoing evidence that a person with typical Filipino features is abandoned in a Catholic church in a municipality where the population of the Philippines is overwhelmingly Filipinos, such that there would be more than a 99% chance that a child born in the province would be a Filipino, would indicate more than ample probability, if not statistical certainty. Naks, sarap sulat na to. Statistical certainty. That petitioner's parents are Filipinos. Yan. This is your introduction to Rule 128 on Evid. Sige. Kung hanggang dyan lang ang binasa nyo, Kung hanggang dyan lang yung binasa nyo, will you be able to convince your professor that you actually read the case and not a digest? Yes, no, maybe. Kung yun lang, hanggang dyan lang ang inabot nyo, would you be able to convince your professor tomorrow that you read the case? Yes, no, maybe. Wag si Miss Oligario. Pambobola lang maririnig natin sa kanya. Maybe. Big yes. Nax, Santiago. I love the confidence. Sige. Yes. Yes, no. Maybe. 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 Why not, Miss Alsua? Sige, ikaw rin, Miss Angeles. Why not? Why not? Anong kulang? Masasabi mo na dalawa po ang petitions. Both petitions sought to disqualify Senator Grace Poe from her candidacy as president in the 2016 elections. Tapos, sa petition ni El Amparo, ang argument po niya ay ganito. Ang sagot po ni Senator Grace Poe ay ganito. Sa second petition, tatlo po sila, si Tatad, si Valdez, si Contreras. Ex na po natin si Contreras, sir, kasi wala naman siyang binato sa citizenship. Kay Tatad po, ganito arguments niya. Si Valdez po, ito. Heto naman po ang naging counter. Senator Grace Poe. At ito po ang ending. Statistically daw po, dahil pango si Grace Poe, ay hindi siya citizen. Ano? Can you say that in class? In elegant English, syempre. Pango ba siya? Parang hindi nga no? Parang kung tinawag siyang pango, paano na lang tayo? Thank you, Ms. Peter Burgos, for pointing that out. Kung tinawag siyang pango ng Supreme Court, ano na lang tayo? Kami po ba nostrils lang? Kung hanggang dan lang ang bala natin, may itatawid ba natin ang ating mga recit bukas? O basa pa tayong konti? Basa o good na? Type basa or good? Sa live chat. Okay. Oh, basa pa. Basa pa. Sige, basahin pa natin. Actually, ang next na linya, maganda. Kung sa citizenship, ito na yung one paragraph doctrine na iuuwi nyo. Ito na. Ito na. Let's color it pink. Para mas tumatak sa inyo. Kung isa lang ang iuuwi nyo, ito na yun. Ay, dadalhin nyo sa klase, sorry. Kung isa lang dadalhin nyo sa klase, ito na. Pero I invite you to look at this. This is very good. This is a solid argument. To deny full Filipino citizenship to all foundlings and render them stateless just because there may be a theoretical chance that one among the thousands of these foundlings might be the child of not just one but two foreigners is downright discriminatory, irrational, and unjust. Let's color that yellow. This is a solid argument. Just doesn't make any sense. Naks. Masabi mo yun sa isang pleading sa Supreme Court. tibay ng dibdib. Sabi mo yan sa exam? Just doesn't make sense, sir. No, Your Honor, doesn't make sense. Stat na nagsabi. Funny, LJ. Yan, ito. Read on. Sabi nyo, basa pa tayo, di basa pa tayo. Pero kung ubos na ang oras mo, pwedeng-pwede ng baon yun. Pero let's read. Yan. Kapag may ganito sa mga kaso, may colon-colon, tapos para siyang script. To entertain myself, I like to do different voices. We would like to request a clarification from the proponent of the amendment. The gentleman refers to natural children or to any kind of illegitimate children. To all kinds of illegitimate children. It also includes natural children of unknown parentage, natural or illegitimate children of unknown parents. Okay. Ito, basahin pa natin to. Ang one sentence doctrine na inalmahan, yun na yun. Balikan ko to ha. To. Tapos ito. Tapos ito. Kinonsolidate naman ng Supreme Court. Pagsasama-samahin naman yan sa ending. I do not accept the amendment because the amendment would exclude the children of a Filipino with a foreigner who does not recognize the child. Sige. Mr. President, my humble opinion is that these cases are far and few. Far and few. Few and far in between. Bakit to jar? Should be far. That the Constitution need not refer to them. By international law, the principle that children or people born in a country of unknown parents are citizens in this nation is recognized, and it is not necessary to include a provision on the subject exhaustively. Wow, at some point pala. Nice to hear that, ha? Kasi our Constitution is constantly criticized. Kasi it's criticized for being verbose. Meaning, it has too many words. Too many words. And I am very happy to go back and read this exchange, this dialogue. At some point pala, kinonsider din nila na pag-aksayahan ng oras na sumulat ng isang specific provision for foundlings. And the humble opinion, Frojas, is that these cases are far and few in between. Few and far in between. Hindi na pala kailangan sulatin ng gumawa ng isa pang specific na provision para lang sa kanila. Sige. It was not because there was any objection on the notion of persons of unknown parentage are not citizens, but only because their number was not enough to merit specific mention. Such was the account cited by petitioner of Delegate and Constitution Law author Arguello. Yan. Read on. Sige. This is tangential. Kung hindi kayo convinced na sapat ang bala nyo, balahin nyo rin to. Domestic laws on adoption also support the principle that foundlings are Filipinos. Okay. ICAB. Mababasa nyo to sa Spec Pro. Anyone here taking Spec Pro? Spec Pro, Special Proceedings. Anyone taking Spec Pro? Dadaanan nyo yan. Sige. And now, the Supreme Court defines for us, by citing the Constitution, natural-born citizens are those who are citizens of the Philippines from birth without having to perform any act to acquire or perfect their Philippine citizenship. In the first place, having to perform an act means that the act must be personally done by the citizen. In this instance, the determination of founding status is done not by the child but by the authorities. Good argument. Second, the object of the process is the determination of the whereabouts of the parents, not the citizenship of the child. Lastly, the process is certainly not analogous to naturalization proceedings to acquire Philippine citizenship or the election of such citizenship by one born of an alien father and a Filipino mother under the 1935 Constitution, which is an act to perfect it. Yan. Ito na. Dito na sinagot yung second argument nila. Foundlings are likewise citizens under international law. Local legislation. Kung kanina, sapat na yon. Kung gusto nyo pang pahabain ang inyong bala, pwede nyo basahin tong mga to. Sige. Hague Convention. In sum, all of the international law conventions and instruments on the matter of nationality of foundlings were designed to address the plight of a defenseless class which suffers from a misfortune not of their own making. Excuse me. Sige. Ito, attacks the ruling. Big definitions here. Pero, ayan. Oh, this ends the discussion on citizenship. It ends on page 31. Yes? And this criticizes how the COMELEC grave abuse of discretion ito, to avoid the direct ruling on the qualifications of petitioner which it cannot make in the same case for cancellation of COC. It resorted to opinionatedness which is moreover erroneous. The whole process undertaken by COMELEC is wrapped in grave abuse of discretion. Sige. Okay, we're not gonna read about residents, not relevant to our case. We're gonna skip ahead all the way until the very end, which connects us, which yan. No, tinatanong ko kanina. Anong pwede natin gawin? These are all annulled and set aside. Petitioner Mary Grace Natividad Sonora Paula Manzares is declared qualified to be a candidate for president in the national and local elections of 9 May 2016. O nga no, September 1 na. Hello kapatid, maraming salamat. Just to recap yung ating process, yung one, read in context. Madaling malunod sa dami ng binasa natin. Sa dami ng discussion. Sa dami ng discussion na binato ng Supreme Court. It's hard to remember all of that. What I can teach you, kapatid, is, well, what I have tried to share is the process of how to cherry pick arguments based on one single topic in constitutional law. Tonight, we tried to understand this case in the context of citizenship. Pwedeng on your own, you can go back and try and understand this case from the framework naman ng residence. You read a paragraph, ask yourself if it's relevant or not relevant to the issue of residency. Parang ganun. Mahaba ang mga cases sa constitutional law. Walang sagot sa tanong na ganun. Kapatid, kailangan lang upuan, bigyan ng oras. At kung nagmamadali ka, you can theoretically end. So long as alam mong pagbanggain ng dalawang arguments. Ang 1:1, lahat ng arguments ng ng respondents versus sa anong sinagot ng petitioner, tapos how the Supreme Court addressed each and every one of them. I hope this live stream has been helpful to you. I will now open it for questions. Let's go, questions. Paano mo malalaman kung kailangan basahin ang dissenting opinions? Pag Consti cases, usually yes. Basa tayo ng ano. Yes, one-on-one coaching is open, even for those who have not started in law school. There is a link. There is a link on how to register sa description box. Yan na, binanggit ko na yung coaching. Start with questions. Months na pala. Yes. O nga, no? What are you looking forward this September? Bukod kay Jose Marichan and the memes later. How do we know not to skim to the next 100 pages? Read through each paragraph. I'm not going to ask you to read in detail. Hindi nyo kailangan i-absorb katulad ng sa active reading. Kasi titipid tayo ng oras dito. I've trained you for about an hour and a half. Ang tinatanong ko lang, relevant, not relevant. Kung feeling mo relevant, di basahin mo. Kung feeling mo not relevant to citizenship, ay not relevant to the topic, go. Read it in detail. Coaching, PM mo ko, kapatid. Mahaba pila. Uy, happy birthday, Muriel. Yan, looking forward. This September. Pasukan sa law school. Oo nga, may mga nag-start na September. Kung may conflict ang international law at public law, alin ang public law? Kasi international law covers two. You have private international law and public international law. Vague ang question. Matapos na ang pandemic, yes, kapatid. I'm always praying for that. Parang kawawa ang mga bata sa ganitong pagkakataon. Marami na po, parang kawawa sila. Yung parang nade-deprive sila ng 1 year of their childhood. Katulad naman kinakwento nyo kanina, lalaro pa kayo sa labas. Ganitong edad, ay ganitong panahon. Sige. Sana marami na po mabakunahan. Yes, praying for that too. Second dose. Regalo ko ang oras ko. Ang oras ko na maupo tayo sa 3 oras. Iskra. I really don't recommend Iskra kasi you can get the same information basically for free. Recommended ko is Batas app. Find it, download it, install it. Kung Mac user ka at first time mong Batas app, send me a PM. I'll show you how. Or you can PM si Bidel, si Ed Charles Pasha. Consti 1 and 2, taking them... Consti 1 the second time? Naku, hindi ko alam. I had to take Consti 2 times. Yes, pagdating sa coaching, you get to pick the topics you want. Basically sa coaching, we sit down together and you identify the topics na gusto mo, na feeling mo kailangan mo ang tulong. And then, we'll look at your toolbox, your skill set. Gaano ka kahilaw o ka-ready. Tapos, we'll make a program for you. PM nyo ako Facebook, please. Customary international law, meron siyang footnote. May footnote doon si Poe nung sinight niya yung customary international law na pang-qualify niya. Basically, that's sidestepping. Sidestepping what the argument. Sidestep plus konting suntok. Yan. Hello, Shorty Pug. Salamat din, Menard, bro, at nandito ka. Pupuyat ka na naman. Thank you. Thank you. I feel it's my life's mission now to help raise an entire generation of God-fearing lawyers. Wherever you are in your law school journey, I'm happy to give you my time. Mac users for Batas app, PM me please. I got you. Miss Alsuwa, yan din ang sentimiento namin ni interviewee sa Friday. Sana nandito pa rin kayo Friday 9 PM. Pero mabilisan lang yon, mabilis na interview lang kasi I'm really looking forward to season 5 ng La Casa de Papel. Mas maganda ang face-to-face. Oo naman. If there's any way that I could stand in front of a blackboard tapos nandun kayo giving me your answers where you feel na hindi kayo, it's a safe space to learn, yung hindi kayo na dinadiarrhea, ine-LBM o kino-constipate habang kayo ay nasa klase. Consti ang masusunod, Divina Gracia, definitely. Coaching PM or joy, yung link, nandun na. Registration link. Santiago, you can find out the details ng coaching at saka scheduling. Hindi mahanap sa FB ang Batas app. Naku, tulungan natin si Mr. De La Rosa. Yes, thank you Santiago. I won't be able to get back to that. Siguro after ng stream or bukas na lang. Law app related sa Android? I don't think so. Sapat na sa akin ang Kodal at libro. For dictionary terms, wala, Google lang. Pwede ba ang Batas app sa Lenovo? Yes. It works very well sa Windows. For Mac, you need 1 or 2 more steps before you can make it work right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Burgos. I find strength when you guys learn. Footnotes ng labor code, naku. Baka ang tinutukoy mo ay mga textbooks ng labor code. Kwento ko na lang sa'yo, Miss Alsua. Anong mga hindi mo mapapanood sa Money Heist? Naku, there's a marathon planned ng September 3. Wala na yung papa-umaga kami. Tatapusin namin ang Money Heist. Ang laking influence sa akin ng Money Heist. When you look at dung mga drawings ng nasaan si Totoong, they're based on some of the characters doon. Bacon isn't my guest. Saan mada-download ang Batas app? Facebook or their website? Naku, salamat Mr. De La Cruz. Happy to have you. Happy to share the law school journey with you. Pag feel nyo na sumuko sa law school o nabibigatan kayo, baka kayang ilaban yan. Send me a PM please. Ayaw mong ma-spoil. Coffee or tea? Coffee. Kalokohan yung mga tea na yan. De, joke lang. Money Heist. Crimpro, we're doing lectures on Crimpro. Sobrang na-enjoy ko silang gawin. Likely first quarter next year or sana hindi na umabot ang Crimpro. We're doing a series of paid lectures. Para siyang Netflix pero for law school. You'll have me, I'll be guiding you through the courses. Parang yung intro to persons. Tapos, pag feel ko magmi-midterms na kayo, we'll do a midterms reviewer. Tapos, there will be a finals version para sa mga nagmamadali. Parang, I'll lay down the 20% of the material where 80% of the questions will probably come from. Preferred author ng Consti. Go with whatever book your professor recommends. Kung hindi siya nag-recommend, tanong nyo kung ano ang ginamit niya nung nagko-Consti siya. Kasi doon at doon lang siya huhugot. Kung wala, then I'd still say cruise plus updated cases. Crimpro po. Oo. Looking forward to discussing Crimpro. How to digest. There's an episode. There's an episode on the kinds of case digests that you have to write. One more tip na nakalimutan kong banggitin dito. When you finish reading a case, think of it as kung magiging MMK episode ito. Ano ang magiging title niya? Etong Paula Manzares na to. Haba-habang kaso. Pagkahaba-haba, 838 pages. Kung ito ay magiging MMK episode, at least yung main ruling, ano kaya ang magiging title niya? Scholarship, sige, write that down kung anong magiging title niya. That will help you remember this case. Scholarship depends on where you are. Yung paid lectures, it's gonna be monthly subscription. Parang presyong Netflix. Kung kaya nyong bayaran yung prepaid at saka Netflix, baka naman kaya nyong idagdag itong mga to. Sige. Paid lectures, ang target talaga namin is last quarter of this year, pero we're probably gonna push back to first quarter next year. Sagani is funny, yes. Recommendation saan, kapatid? Miss Florano. Maraming salamat, Miss Malyari. Lahat naman yan nadadaan sa dasal. My mother always, sinabi ko to sa book na dekada. My mother always taught me, if you're down, look up. Look at the sky. Look at the beautiful, beautiful sky. Wherever you are, however you are, you look up to the sky. You'll be blessed. PIL. Wait lang. PIL. Recommended textbook ng PIL. Ay, Cruz. Wait lang, kapatid, ha. Silipin ko lang ano yung PIL. PIL, cruise pa rin, lumang cruise. Kung ito na ay MMK episode, mas maalala ba natin siya bilang pango? Kaso, yun na nga eh. Parang kung pango si Senator Grace po, paano na lang tayo? Mga mere mortals. Ano tayo? Nostrils lang. Foundling, pango. Pango talaga nagdala. Fourth year students thinking of having a break, tigil muna kahit isang sem. Good question. Watch the old episode on the 5 things I wish I knew as a senior. Ay, funny to, Mr. Burgos. Pangopo ako. Abandoned. Title ang probinsyano. Ay, Miss Abanez, you're here. Maraming salamat. Budlat. Budlat really sounds bastos. Hello, Miss Mengulyo. My bidel from last Sunday. Magiging abogado ka. Mr. Santiago. Napulot lang po. Funny. Mr. Lumagbas, this will help me remember. Yes and no. Okay magbasa ng caudal kung meron ka ng foundational skills on how to construe the law. Pero kung if you're coming from high school or college, tapos tira ka ng caudal lang, pwedeng yung understanding mo napakababaw or maguguluhan ka lang. Mas siguro cases siguro. Kung mag-a-ahead of time ka, cases. Cases kasi, ano ba naman ang mga textbooks? They contain 10% na caudal, tas 20% of the author's own words, sa 70% galing lang din sa mga kaso. Living in the moment. Pulot lang po ako. Funny, Mr. Putungan, benta. Napulot. Ay! Wanyo, clever. Paulutan. Nice. These are all good titles for an episode. Hello, Miss Acosta. I'm still alive. Sa Consti case. Expect mo to, 3 oras to. Dami pa namin nilaktawan. At ang mga ending naman ng mga live stream na to nagiging AMA. Do you want to do more Consti cases ba? In future live streams? Ano mga gusto nyong madiscuss natin na sa unit, sa group? Nagda-digest. Ang productivity ko sa digest, usually handwritten to 4 per hour. 4 per hour ang expected productivity ko na 110. Magandang tanong to, Mr. Divina Gracia. Inspiration ko siguro is this. If I knew back then that I'll be starting something like this, I would have taken law school a bit more seriously. Kaso wala Ano bang mga ikukwento ko sa inyo? The times na napalabas ako sa classroom. Bakit ako nabubokya? Paano ko mayon maiiwasan? Parang hindsight is always 20/20, sabi nga nila. So now sa channel, I'm sharing all the mistakes I've made. Some of the mistakes I've shared exclusively sa dekada. Hindi mabilis ang 4 per hour. Kasi ganito yan. Hindi mo naman yan... Hindi ka nakaka 4 per hour. Pero pag susumahin mo, sa 3 oras, naka 12 cases ako na digest, handwritten, na pang-submit, pang-binding. Yan ang productivity ko. Pwedeng hindi naman ako strictly 15 minutes per case. Pwedeng umaabot ako ng mas matagal. Pero nag-a-average lang ng 4 per hour. Pwedeng kunwari sa Paula Manzares, tas citizenship ang topic. Pag sinulat ko lahat to, pwedeng nasa 20 minutes ako, pati basa. 30, sama basa, sige. Ay, hindi, Miss Acosta. Tinatanong sa akin, nakakailang digest ako per hour. Sabi ko, nakaka-4 ako. Handwritten, yung pang-submit. Ubos oras talaga sa pagbabasa kung babasahin mo lahat. The law does not require the doing of impossible things. You're definitely not required to read every one of the 838 pages of this case. Kaya nga we read with a purpose. Who filed what petition against whom and why was it filed? So we skip to the ending. Kasama basa, oo, nag-average pa rin ng 4. Pwedeng itong mga to tinatambayan to, mabot na ng 30 minutes. Fast reading skills, wala, bibilis ka rin. Walang tip dyan. Parang sa iyong lumalakas ka, hindi pumapatag ang bundok sa iyong pag-akyat. Lumalakas ka relative sa bundok. So, ang productivity mo nung first year ka, pwedeng 1 per 4 hours. Eventually, you'll get to 4 per hour. Sa masulat, 30. Ay, may nagkikick ng prof. Di ba parang controlled ni host yon? Yung sasabihan ka lang na get out of my classroom, ganun. Property. Again, you wait for your professor's recommendation, prescription, tapos yung recommendation niya or kung ano ang ginamit niya. Kung wala siyang binanggit doon, Rabuya de Leon, dalawa. Paras. Alsuwa, bibilis ka rin. How do you manage reading textbooks? Na-stream ko yan 2 streams ago, active reading. I walked you through the process. Medyo mahaba lang. Tiyagain mo lang, kapatid. Meron ding handouts yun na pwede mong i-download. Pwede mong sundan. Tapos, when you're through reading, sa active reading, hindi naman namin tinapos yung buong handouts eh. Pwede naman na kung ano ang natira, you do it on your own. Parang itong case na to, if you'd like to do this again in terms of residency, basahin nyo, tapos with residency in the context of residency. Tapos highlight lang, make your marginal notes, then send it to me on Facebook. Aralin natin. Let's see what you're missing or where you're improving. Study hard or study smart. Pareho. It's hard to study at 4 a.m. kung natulog ka lang ng alas 12. You have to be smart with your time. Si Prof ang host. Kaya pala uso ang magkikik ng ano. Oo. Safe na bilhin kapag first year, Kodal. 1 hour per case. Naku, bibilis ka rin. Tiwala lang. Paras. If you get paras, go for paras. Agree MZR. Kapatid, anong pangalan mo? Bakit pag nakikita kita office ang gusto kong itawag sa'yo? Pangalanan mo nga ang iyong sarili para mahanap kita. Fast reading. Oo, active reading kasi you have to start with a clear mind. Kaya nga lagi kong nire-recommend that you start with the one fixed point in your universe known as your study table. It will be your sanctum sanctorum, the altar upon which you will offer your blood, sweat, tears, and your pancreas for your dream to become a lawyer. Malyari, thank you for the clarification. This question was asked by someone who is not yet in law school. Kaya nga sa mga series na ginawan ko nung what to expect in StatCon, in Crim 1, I sent out links sa mga kaso na dapat nilang mabasa. Dapat nyong mabasa. So in that order, caudal, and then the cases. Recommended cases. Kesa sa bumili na ng textbook. Sayang kasi, 2,200 to 5 ang isang libro. See, I hope that helps. Start with the caudal cases. Pag may pambili na, textbooks, or may sinabi na bibilhin, textbooks. Wow, buti naman at sa inyo, typewritten na lang ang digests. Siguro umiiwas din ng mga professors, no? Baka kasi nilawayan nyo na siningahan nyo yung mga yellow pad nyo kung ipapa-LBC nyo pa sa kanya o sa opisina niya. Hello, Kat. Maraming salamat. I'll remember you now. Hello, Kat. Good night, Miss Diaz. Happy birthday. Yes. Wag niyo akong sabayan sa puyat. I'm taking a personal day tomorrow. Imposter syndrome. I-contextualize mo, kapatid. Kung hindi ka komportable mag-share dito sa stream, PM mo ko kung gusto mong i-discuss pa yung imposter syndrome. Pero at some point kasi, I faked my way through law school. Parang pumapasok lang ako ng super confident kahit you fake it until you make it. Sobrang confident ko na lang, lalo na sa exams. Hanggang umabot sa point yung skill level ko at saka yung pagsagot ko at saka yung sulat ko umabot sa level na mag-uuwi ng 97 sa exams. Pero 55, 60 sa recit. Salamat, kapatid. Wow, computerized ang case digest. Sana all nga lang. Salamat, Torres, Mr. Torres, sa pagtambay. See you sa next live stream. Bad at math? Oo naman. Konti ang math sa law school. You have math sa taxation, math sa taxation. That's it. 110 pa rin. Wow, ang lakas ng loob nilang humawak ng mga case digests nyo. Imagine, ilang pages yan. Pwedeng isa sa kanila, siningahan nyo. Kapag nalilito ka pagdating sa textbooks, try and watch yung episode on active reading and detailed guide on how to read textbooks. For sure, pag nasundan mo yung mga yan, nabigyan mo ng oras, kapatid, lilinaw at lilinaw din ang pagbabasa. Textbooks. Good night, Miss Alsua. Good night din, bro. Good night din, Miss Mumar. Marie. 110 pero scanned lang. Yun lang. Scanned copy lang yung papasa. Meron ba kaya nandadaya? Gumagamit ng sariling font, tapos itatype, tapos ipaprint. Terror, don't give them any reason to fail you. Give them extra time. Mental health struggles. Marami yan, kapatid. I think the best way for me to share about my mental health would be through the through the book, Kada. Here's the link for Kada. Diyan lang talaga ako nagkwento ng mga detailed versions ng mental health struggles. Salamat, Roel. Thank you sa pagtambay. Meron pa ring prof na 110 pero scanned. Ayun yung alam mong hindi na talaga babasahin no? Salamat, Lumina. Thank you, bro. Good night, Miss Abanes. If there are no more questions, it's been 3.5 hours. I've had so much fun with you guys. Although stressful din pala, no? Stressful din kapag sa Consti cases. How do you deal with terror profs, toxic students? Terror profs, impress them where you can. Huwag pabibo, pero impress them when you get the chance. Toxic students, I cannot relate because I've been an introvert for most of my life. I've made a grand total of 2 friends in law school. Ayun naman pala, sayang naman, Miss Acosta. Yes, thank you for reminding me, Miss Mengulio, my Bidel. Meds and water. Okay, I've had my meds. You have me for 10 more minutes before I conk out. Salamat, Mr. Santiago. Streaming for me is difficult kasi it starts at 9 p.m. Ang oras na kung saan ay buhay kayo. Doon ako nagsastruggle pagdating sa streaming. Ang PDF reader ko, same with yung default app ng, I think it's called Preview when you're on a Mac. Study group, no. I prefer to learn on my own. And hindi ako tiwala sa quality ng output ng mga kaklase ko. I have trust issues. Sorry. Ha. Kapalan lang ng muka. Terror Professor, I have a story on that. Sa dekada. Salamat, Mr. Santiago. The goal of the live streams, is to create a safe space for you to learn. You can answer incorrectly and walang impact. Hindi ka bawasan sa iyong bulsa, hindi ko 'yon ikakayaman kung ikaw ay mali. Hindi ko rin naman ikakatuwa kung ikaw ay mali. Just make the mistakes here so when you get to your classroom, aral na kayo. Hello, Miss Mengulio. Yes, Jose Marichan is waving. Any plans for book 2? Naks, gandang tanong naman yan. Book 2. Sabi ko kasi I'm going to do one creative project per year. Last year I did Nasaan si Totoong. This year I did Dekada. Feeling ko kota na ako. Pero pag-isipan natin yan, Miss Angeles. Thank you for your suggestion. Ang gamit ko sa animation, Adobe Illustrator, After Effects, Character Animator, Premiere, and I do most of my audio on Audition. Hope that helps. Mocap. Naku, I'm not familiar with the precise tech na kailangan. Pero parang motion detection nga lang din to. Pwede ba ang 6 to 9 units na enroll sa law school? Yes, kung aalaw ka ng yung professor. Ay, 6 to 9 units, pwedeng i-enroll yan kung i-allow ka ng yung registrar. Usually kasi kapag first year, first semester, full load lang. Sige bro, maya-maya. Nag-hangout ka ba kasama ang yung mga classmates sa law school pagkatapos ng exams? No, kasi I have a grand total of 2 friends in law school. Anime, yes and no. Yes and no. Depende. Kasi I got into anime after I tried to teach myself how to draw and how to animate. Yun ang extent ng experience ko. At marirealize mo madaya pala ang mga animation ng Hapon. Parang you have the same cycles. Parang, sige halimbawa, kunwari sa Slam Dunk, kapag when a shot is taken, kunwari si Rokawa, titira, tatalon siya, parang the background changes constantly. Yung swoosh ng jump niya. But nothing much happens. Actually, there's nothing much that's actually done by Rokawa. That makes sense. BSIT as a potential prelo, laban, pwede yan. Pwede yan. For any 4-year course will allow you to enter law school. Naku, Teddy Hawkson, what did you want to say, bro? Safe space to. Fave anime mo po. Naku. Probably, wala eh. Ayoko na magsabi ng mga fave anime kasi dated sila. Dated sila. Mazinger Z? Voltes 5. Grabe. Kakamatandaan na to. Mac class. Mac class. Parang close na for batch 5. Hindi ko alam. Pero marami kasi nagpe-petition eh. Pwede bang isama kita kapatid? I-PM mo ako sa Facebook. Para isama kita sa mga nagpe-petition. Pag kumota to, i-go natin ang batch 5. Prilo, ako ay nagtapos ng Bachiller ng Sining Agham Pampolitika sa Universidad ng Pilipinas, Maynila. Sige. For those of you remaining during this live stream, we're down to about maybe 60, 70 people. Thank you so much for spending your evening with me. Thank you so much for spending the last 3.5 hours of your lives with me. I've always felt that the greatest gift para sa akin as a person would always be time. Time is a very finite resource. It's something that we have a finite amount of every time, every day. Same lang tayo ng natatanggap na oras. Whether you're earning the minimum wage or some other ridiculous number. So when people spend time with me like you guys are doing right now, it means so much to me. So for that, I thank you. Today, this live stream almost didn't happen. Even after I promoted na I'll be doing a stream ng 9, it almost didn't happen. I've had my struggles with my health. My physical health, my mental health. And if it's okay with you guys here nandito, I'd love to spend a few moments with you in quiet contemplation. Maybe say a prayer with me. For those of you who have been following the channel over the summer, previous batches ng mga classes, are familiar with where I am right now physically and mentally. It's always a big deal for you to be present during the streams. Makes me feel that what we do here is important, what we do here matters. That what we do here actually makes a difference in the real world. I invite you now to just close your eyes. If you feel like it, you can lift up your hands to the sky. Stretch your arms wide. And just bask. Bask in this online community, this safe space we have created for us. Say these words after me. Father, come to you tonight as one united community. It's always been my dream. Pray with people from the LXM community. Live tonight, that dream's happening again. I lift up to you every single person who is with me during the stream, who has been with me through the stream, who has in some capacity clicked on the link to learn something about constitutional law. I offer up to you all of their struggles, all of their pain, everything that's holding them back. I pray that you give me the strength to continue working with them, the physical strength to continue with my recovery, the mental strength that I may continue to share my story, my testimony with the rest of them, with the rest of the LXM community. In a special way, we remember all of those who are still up tonight. Lahat ng mga hindi pa tulog because they have to work, because they have to be there for someone, because they have to man the checkpoints, man our emergency rooms, and treat those who are ill. All those who are standing guard between us and this pandemic. In a special way, we remember all of those who have lost their lives during this pandemic. We also pray for those they have left behind. We speak words of healing, O God, to everyone who's sick with COVID-19. We command every cell of their bodies, every tissue, every organ, and every system to be rid of this disease. I also lift up to you my friend, my brother, my sister who is with me right here, right now. In the silence of our hearts, we lift up everything we've been struggling with. We lift up to you all of our struggles, all of our pains, and all of the things that we want and we need for the months and weeks ahead. I lift up to you, O God, my friend here, who is praying with me, who is one with me. Move my friend from grace to grace, that in everything and in every day, we will see you working in our lives, in every teaching moment, in every learning moment, and every moment of divine providence. This we ask, in the mighty name of Jesus we pray. In the mighty name of Jesus we pray. Amen and amen. Thank you, kapatid, for spending the last few moments praying with me. Thank you for praying for me and thank you for praying with me. Maraming salamat, kapatid. Thank you all so much for staying with me. Wow, until nearly 1 a.m. for our live stream. Maraming salamat, kapatid. I love you guys. Good night.